Hello, hello. Welcome along to episode 10. The decimal anniversary of our treasurettes. Last session we docked up in Mechania and, decided to start spending some riches. This session we're going to spend some riches and do whatever it is we're going to do. I don't know. Today I have playing with me, Rico.
Hi, I'm Rico. I'm playing Elmore King, the skeleton bard rogue outlaw.
I have Miago.
Hey, I'm playing Arkorivos. He is a mind flayer, arcane polymath wizard artificer.
That he is. I have Josh.
I'm Josh. I will be playing Felix Nuri, the Reborn Tiefling Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer, Pact of the Tara Master Warlock.
It must be episode 10. He knows what he's playing. And I have Joe.
Let's go with the simple version of mine. I am playing Bellows, a Genasi barbarian.
That's probably what we should stick to in future, because all the information's on the little panels. Aren't the panels cool? Let's say woo! Guys, you don't happen to have leveled up to 6, do you?
Yes. We are at 6.
Yeah, we're
Sorry, Bruno! We need a new GIF. Oh well. Never mind, it'll be level 5 for now. I don't think it'll matter too much.
Next time, yeah, I know.
Regardless, I believe that we were in Mechania. Weren't we? Isn't that exciting? It's Bellows' favourite place and his hometown. After a pleasant sort of night stay, as you sort of came in and with your sort of relaxed at the food factory, it's sort of nice and early in the morning, or not, depending on what you guys think. There's deviled eggs for breakfast. What are we doing?
Why don't we head out and spend this coin, this well-earned coin that we've
Indeed.
earned.
We have this axe to return as well. I've paid this back in my notes.
Yargut!
Yargut.
Yes.
We should see him once we have this recipe for ancient dwarven ales that we could possibly sell to those dwarven brewers that we met the last time we were in Mechania.
Indeed, and I seem to remember Karnak saying something about us rendezvousing with him and introducing us to some of his craftsman friends.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I mean, he sort of said he'd introduce you to the various crafters and let them know that you've been a help. For the most part, what that means is that you've got a 10% discount at anybody who makes custom pieces. But, yeah, I mean, you by all means take Karnak around with you. Maybe he'll stop sounding like Bellows after a few more episodes.
So, yes.
Like a proper Scotsman.
Just wait until Bellows sounds like something different.
Then there is that.
Well, perhaps we hunt down this Yargut and give him his axe to begin our day.
He's often here, is he not?
He comes in for dinner sometimes. Does Yargut. But you'll know him best as the guard captain.
Maybe we find him at work.
Yeah, head to the outpost.
Yeah, you can head to the guard outpost, sort of ask who's on duty where and where the captain will be.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Cool. As you head on off to the guard post, you come across a guard sort of passing the other way. When I say a guard, I mean like a troop of guards, I guess. Sort of a phalanx, if you like. There's sort of, I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway, there's 8 of them. And they've all sort of got their weapons and shields. They're not walking in, nice tight formation. They're just wandering down the damn hallway, spitting, swearing, and shouting about bad wine and headaches and hangovers.
Right. Excuse me, good sir.
Aye, what can I do for you?
We are looking for a Captain Yargut.
Yargut! I think he's up at the observatory.
May you give me at least a cardinal direction? Up? This is good. Thank you.
The observatory, he sort of looks at you like an idiot. The observatory has a small sort of glass cap at the very top of the mountain of Mechania.
Okay.
It's pretty difficult for it to be anywhere else, otherwise it wouldn't be able to see anything. So yeah, observatory all the way to the top. Normally you'd have to be quite important to get up to the top, sort of to the upper levels. But the observatory itself, above that, few people go up there, to be honest, so they're a little bit more lax about letting you through that area.
Alright.
Head on up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You see him in, as you arrive, in a furious argument with a very resplendent-looking fellow. When he turns his head, you'll notice he has a gold metal face. Though the rest of him seems to be human or humanoid. The gold face is sort of perfectly round and moon-shaped almost. It's circular, it's not oval. It's the wrong shape for a face, basically. And standing next to him is Ornacia, who you've met before, who is the cultural manager for Mechania. She seems to be staying very quiet in this fuming argument.
Do we overhear?
Yeah, I mean, if you walk kind of slowly up there, you do overhear a few sort of technical terms and sort of... but the moon is going to be red, and it's going to be in line with, all this rubbish. Makes no sense to most of you, but Arconeros, you might know something of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me an intelligence check, just for science.
We are 21.
21. They're discussing some sort of planetary phenomenon that's going to happen at some point fairly soon, and it's only relevant, apparently, if certain things align, and they're not sure they will. But, yeah.
May we interrupt a moment?
Oh, thank goodness. It's about time someone did.
Yes, you were paying us, whatever. Can't think of that word. We were in your employ to find an axe.
Aye, yes I did. That was a while ago.
We have found just that.
You have? Wow.
Well,
He sort of looks
in the
over
bag
at
of holding. We'll produce it real quick.
Sure. He sort of looks over at him. Well, I know that. Didn't think I'd ever see this again. Blow me down. It's a piece of beauty. That it is. Huh. Well,
A
payment
fine-looking piece of craftsmanship.
Payment is promised. And he puts his 500 gold pieces on the table, but he also pulls out, and I did find out what the reward was for this quest, he also pulls out a stunning ruby, which looks like it could be used for magical enchantment purposes, potentially as part of a weapon enhancement if it was given such, although not the sort of weapon enhancement that Bellows uses. Potentially one for a ranged weapon.
Very cool.
And yeah, I mean, when Karnak was introducing you to all the various people, he did mention one person, Garrick, who works at the hardware store, who is known to be occasionally capable of upgrading guns a little bit. He's no expert like those in Newton and Arenas and such, but he's decent.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I've had that gem for a while, but frankly, my musket does what it needs to, and when in doubt, I prefer hitting people over the head with an axe.
We are very much appreciative of this very quick and easy resolution. Thank you.
No, I'm very appreciative of you. I don't suppose your days at Academius, if that is indeed where you come from. Sorry, I don't think I caught your name.
Arcorivos.
Arcorivos. Oh, interesting. I don't suppose that you studied any planets or stars or such. I don't know if Academius has anywhere that sees through the endless smog and cloud line.
Yeah, we have some old texts about the sky as it once was, but it is not our main concern, or at least not in my school of meta-creativity and pottery and such.
You see, we had a friend here a little while back. One of those lichens. You know?
Yes.
Good fellow, really. But he said that... Oh, what was it? And the sort of round-faced android turns around and... It is believed that if planet XY lines up perfectly with stars, constellation, Forellus and Andromeda, then there will be a heightening of magic ability, which could indeed affect all technology as we know it today. Quite briefly, for approximately 7 minutes, at 3:30 in the morning, in 3 days hence.
Excellent.
Or whatever he said. Do you know anything of that phenomenon?
I do not, but is there any, and I'll kind of address the android, is there any plan to create like a double-blind study to figure out if this magical phenomenon is actually occurring? I would be interested in helping.
From what I can see, it seems that it's going to be exponentially powerful. No test will be required. Technology will be affected in such a way that it is so effective it is ineffective. The dwarf sort of turns to you and... You see, and it's this kind of blunder that I can't get through. I think what he's saying is everything's going to go boom.
This definitely could happen. I wonder if it might be intelligent to disassemble some things to some degree. That perhaps power sources are not near kinetic engines and things of that order, so nothing can go too awry.
The biggest worry is the train, you know. He's sort of very difficult to understand. He makes train sounds and hand motions.
So perhaps deactivating the train during this time would be wise.
The damnable problem is that deactivating that train is one thing, but getting it back starting again, I'm not so sure.
What's the trouble with that? Can't you just flip a switch?
If only it was that simple. The thing hasn't stopped moving in about 106 years. When it starts to move, it takes a lot more energy, or so I'm informed, you know, than once it's going, where it sort of runs on some sort of momentum stuff, I don't know. It's something about producing kinetic energy on the way down and then using it to get back up again.
Momentum, eh? Seems like what you need is a big push.
Stop it at the top so that it can fall down.
Well, that's what I said. But they said that
again.
With no power, it won't stay at the top, it'll just roll down.
Perhaps with the augmented magic, we could levitate it to keep it at the top, and with our incredibly enhanced arcane power. And then when our power fades, it will still be at the top, and then it will gather kinetic energy as it falls.
Well, indeed, it's only about 7 minutes, I suppose. Though,
Yes.
it does weigh a lot. You know? Like a lot.
And it will be a fantastic time to test how much magic has been augmented during the 7 minutes, yes?
But what happens if it doesn't work?
Then the train falls, and we all learn a great deal.
That's all well and good. But the train is...
People should not be on the train, yes.
Aye, but the train is the centre of culture here in Mechania. Without the train, I mean, frankly, nothing will work. Sort of Ornacia turns to you and... the train is necessary for many things, you know. For example, the commerce. All the way up and all the way down. If there is no power, there is no train, there is no goods. All of the farming stuff is stuck in the Underdark. It is a tragedy. We don't have direct paths through the middle of the mountain everywhere, you know. Some people can only get somewhere by train.
Seems like an enormous flaw in your infrastructure, one that could be exploited by the enemies of Mechania.
But most of the enemies are just stupid people who come and shoot. Or stupid people who fly or scratch, you know, they don't do the thinking.
There are many of those, though.
That's
There are many
it.
of those.
It only takes one. I agree.
Well,
What holds it still when people are getting on and off?
If you remember, Bellows, nothing. It doesn't slow. It doesn't stop. It just moves really, really, really slowly through most of the areas, so people can just get on and off as it goes. That's why they have like automated cargo shuffling down at the bottom that sort of slides everything on at once.
Now,
Yeah, it really doesn't stop, apart from when it turns
Slows
around.
it down.
Now that is a good question. And the sort of posh gentleman looks sort of with his moon face, and I believe that they have a system whereby there is a crank. The crank, it speeds up and slows down at certain times based on kinetic energy, but it stores it. It keeps, it doesn't just work
It's a
on its own.
flywheel. Yes.
Oh, is that what they call it? Well, I study stars.
now
That's
how,
his excuse.
if the train was in the very center of the track, and it was enormously augmented for 7 minutes, would it go fast enough to actually reach either end? Otherwise, you could position it in the middle, and if it goes much faster for 7 minutes up or down the slope, but not far enough to collide with the end, then you have no real problem other than it will go real fast for 7 minutes.
Well, that is a fascinating theory. Where exactly would the middle be? I suppose that... Yes, around the workers' districts. Perhaps we could... your ideas are quite fascinating. Thus far, from what I am given to understand, the best that Mechania's amazing gadgeteers and scientists have come up with, it was chaining it.
Simple but effective.
It's fun enough, but...
Well, the problem is they don't know if it'll work, which is frankly not much use in the slightest. Yargood looks at you and... well, if this is settled... I think I'll be getting back down. I don't really care so much for trains and sciences and cleverness. Thank you
if
for
you need to
the
consult
axe.
with us further,
Well, you can consult with these people as much as you like. I frankly don't see much point in one such as I being involved.
oh yes, you are of little to no use right now, Yaku.
No,
Thank you.
I will get the people off the train. And after that, it's up to you guys. Or someone, I guess. Sort of the round-faced man goes, probably head scientist, I can't remember his name. He's probably the one in charge of that. What's his name? Fizzgill.
Fizzgill.
Yes. You met Fizzgill once. He was the one who was so fascinated by your water purification part. Yes, very
We gave him
sciencey.
some floating rocks.
You
Yes,
did.
we did.
And he was most excited by them. Oh, thank you very much for your consultation, Arcorivos, was it?
You are very welcome.
And the rest of you for your interesting contributions.
When is this occurring again?
3 days hence at 7 minutes past the 3rd hour in the morning. For approximately
That
7
sounds
minutes.
delightful. Excellent. I will, I think, conduct an experiment of my own to see how much my magic is augmented and perhaps see a train crash. You are. It was delightful to meet you.
He sort of does this mechanical chuckling and I look forward to seeing you too.
So,
A
then
pleasure.
You have met other androids before, but none that don't have a human head at all. So the difference with androids and automatons, obviously, is androids are augmented humans, or humanoids, and automatons are fully automated creatures that were never human. But this is one of the most strange androids you've seen. You'd gather that the only reason that they would have an entirely new head is if their old one was knocked off or useless. Which is perhaps really ugly, I suppose. But, yeah, cool. Alright. With that business concluded.
alright. Well, is there a beer recipe we could try to barter for, or if anyone else has any fun plans?
Let's hit up the mission district. See what's poppin'.
Agreed?
Cool.
Come along now, Felix Mellows.
Ironically, taking the train back down, which is moving,
Arcargos will kind of be poking around, like trying to figure out how it works and.
Yeah,
why it
unfortunately,
works.
you're probably traveling in one of the passenger compartments, and therefore there is.
Oh
very
yeah,
little
no, he's still
information
just
here.
like trying to look, poke his head out a window and looking at how the
Yep.
wheels turn and shit.
One of the first thing you'll notice is there are no wheels. It's permanently on rails. Like they look a bit like skates, to be honest. And there is a lot more magic than technology going on there. So
Okay.
Arcarvos really will understand that whilst it's harnessing sort of kinetic energy and maybe some technology is used to gather that power, the power is being used to run magic.
Okay.
But as the train sort of coasts down to floor 71, which is the sort of top of the merchants' levels, yeah, you're welcome to jump off.
All right. Yeah. Do so.
Let's go.
So if you remember, this is a sort of a big shopping district. There's sort of 3 or 4 floors. There's a smelly floor, which was like the tannery and the alchemists and that sort of stuff. There's a sort of a metalworking floor of sort of armory and metalsmiths and such. There's a sort of technology floor, and then there's the guild masters at the top. With the guild masters are also some taverns and whatnot. And at the center of these guild masters is this huge sort of plaza, which if you remember before, they were outfitting it with a market. Well, that's come down, and there's now an art exhibition going on, which appears to be various stuffed animals from all over the world, and each one has stamped in the side of it this metal plaque that says "property of the." It was right there. It was right there, and then it went. I have to open the document, bear with me. I really thought, no, I don't have to open a document, I can open your quest. Where is your quest? Do we not have a quest section in this bloody handouts? Do I have everything but? I give you quests, right? Do I not give you quests?
No, I don't remember seeing quests.
I don't know if it's
Like
actually a
your very
category,
first quest, for example? Oh, does it come from Naxilian and Brancus? It's the Enclave. There you go. It's the Enclave where Brancus and Naxilian worked for. The Enclave is mostly archivists and elves, really, who just want to store all the knowledge of the old world and do nothing with it, which is quite boring, really. But yes, stamped on each of these sort of beasts, which you would have never seen, most of them. They're all sort of strange old creatures, some even pre-sundering. And it just says property of the Enclave. Yeah, you're free to go where you like. Do as you please.
Anyone have anywhere in particular that they want to go?
Well, I sort of need to figure out what I can do for myself before I know what I want to buy from others.
Whatever do you mean, Bellows?
Well, I have some skill with. Yeah, Bellows does already sound different. I'm very tired today. But with Smith tools, although I need to buy Tinker's tools if I could do that someplace. I never had those, although I have the proficiency.
Okay.
Yeah, there is both a general goods store, but there's also tinkerers and such who would sell you them. Ironically, there's also some really, really clever tinkerers tools somewhere that I think are called an all-purpose tool.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those.
Right.
That was at Magnets and Magnificence, although it's quite pricey.
Yeah, it's not cheap. But you would be able to buy a basic set of I think there's a tool utility belt for like a couple of gold, and then the actual Tinkerer's tools. Artificer tools are 150, Tinkerer's tools are 50. Artificer's tools, an all-purpose tool is 8,000. There you go, nice and cheap.
That's crazy. Not necessary. I would be able to turn it into a bunch of tools I don't know how to use. So
I think it does more than just that, the all-purpose tool, but yes.
Yeah, it can help raise your DCs and get you another cantrip if you're an artificer.
right.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, really good for an artificer.
Okay. Elmore is definitely interested in getting some new digs and visiting this Garrick character.
Did you say getting some meat dicks?
Yes, meat dicks. Exactly, James.
Ain't we all?
New digs, new digs.
New digs! What are new digs? I thought new digs meant new place to live, no?
New clothes, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, not a British phrase at all.
He lives in them, right? We're kind of treasure rats.
Yeah. No, but new digs here would be like a new apartment.
Yeah, no. It wouldn't mean also like a new...
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the only way I've ever heard of it. So cool. So new clothes. Yeah, well, there's plenty of fashionable places here. There really aren't. I think there's like one tailor's.
There's one tailor's, yeah. The knitwear.
It's a little unfashionable and old-fashioned, but some of their stuff's magical and cool.
Yeah, some of this stuff is magical and cool. Onward.
Cool.
Aha!
I mean, you also wanted to pop into the brewers, right? So if you've got over the top floor, the Guild of Brewers is on the top floor. So if you wish to speak to the brewsmith.
Yeah, let's do
So we
that.
should do that.
We'll work our way down.
One of the head brewer there is called Ivan Barrel Thumper. He sort of looks over at you, over this huge ginger beard, and a belly that's perhaps a little too large for walking around with. Well, what exactly do we have here? Huh. Unlikely to see non-dwarves in the brewsmiths, no?
I think anybody enjoys a good drink now and then.
He sort of looks at you and, can you drink?
It goes right through me usually, but...
Aha! Goes right through him.
I have the same problem with soup. I must say, it goes straight through me as well. I get bloody rubbish. I spend the next following days just sat there, you know. If you catch my drift. Anyway, can I be of assistance?
Perhaps we can be of assistance to you.
Well, I do like the sound of that.
Well, you see, we are treasure hunters of sorts.
Oh, well, my beer is most definitely a treasure.
Have you ever heard of the Hall of Dwarven Kings?
The Hall of Dwarven Kings. Have I heard of the Hall of Dwarven Kings? He's going to make a history check. He has not. No, I can't say that I have. It sounds like it's a place where the Dwarven Kings gather or live or die.
Astute. Yes. Well, they're all dead now. That is...
Oh, quite a tragedy.
Yes. Well, it was pre-Sundering, so, you know.
Oh, goodness
A long
me.
time ago.
Oh, kings of what, then? Nothing relevant anymore.
Some dwarves are quite excited about it, and
They
some of
would
your
be.
clientele may be amongst them, and you could offer them something incredibly unique.
Well, now we're talking my kind of business. I do like money.
And he will produce the ancient dwarven beer recipe that we found in the Hall of Dwarven Kings.
He looks over it and... What is oat?
It is a grain from the before times.
Barley? I don't know what half of
is
this
that
stuff
not a
is.
thing?
Do I need a
I knew a girl once. I knew a girl once named Barbie.
Oh my! Does she make good beer? Is she part of my recipe?
No, but she enjoyed it.
I tell you what, if this is good, then I will be happy to pay you most handsomely. But I don't know what any of this stuff is, really, if I'm being honest. It's not stuff we have in Mechania. But I have heard rumours. I have rumours indeed that a place in this world that James can't remember the name of.
Full of plants and dry green.
Is it the Krieger?
No. That would be Krieger. It's the one with a beautiful bubble over the top. Lazarus!
Oh,
Yes. I have heard that in Lazarus they grow all sorts of food. They create food there. They're magicians, very clever. Very clever. They just stand there all day and, quite frankly, greenery just shoots out their asses. It's amazing. Should you visit there, and you might inquire into the nature of oats and barley and other such things are listed here. And if you are able to perhaps gain some of them and bring them back, I will pay you most handsomely if it tastes even half decent. Something as unusual as ancient dwarven ale should sell excellently. You're right, there are far too many dwarves concerned with what's happened in the past. I prefer to be concerned with what's happened in the future, which is money lining my pockets, I think.
Right. Let's see, what was that name of that city again?
Lazarus. Lazarus. I don't know how I can remember it. I can remember like all the others at the time. But not that one.
Well, in the meantime, we will hold on to this recipe then.
That is most appropriate, as I can't do anything with it.
And we shall try to return with oats and barley.
Perhaps, if it works, you, say 4% of the profits?
4%'s a little tight.
You think? I could perhaps stretch to 4.5, if push.
I was thinking a little more along the lines of 8 or 9%.
Oh, I really hoped you were going to shoot him like 50%. So looked at you and I'm not sure. It all depends really on how well it does.
Margin?
Before the adjusted margin. Make a persuasion check. See if you can convince him, Mr. Elmore.
I'm helping Elmore.
Okie dokie.
You are. Go ahead, roll with advantage.
By throwing out terms like adjusted margin.
Yes, you're just simply confusing him with technological shit. An 11.
That's an 11 with advantage, man.
I will stretch to 4.8%. Though, of course, if you receive a better offer from any of my fellow brewers, don't forget that I'm in charge of the guild. Meet me and I'll match it.
We'll do our best to,
I won't have this
sure.
sold by someone else. Ancient Dwarven Ale. It's surprising that we haven't said something as Ancient Dwarven Ale by now, even if it isn't. Goodness me.
Authenticity sells, my good man.
He sort of nods his head really vigorously, and his belly begins to sort of go up and down as well. He's sort of, well, it's been a pleasure to do business with you. I didn't even take your name. Shit.
Well, this is Elmore King, and we are the crew of the Scarlet Rose.
Good, the Scarlet. Cleo.
Yes.
You're familiar with the captain.
Familiar in a sense, I guess. One could say she's a little infamous to me. She once ran a shipment for me. Charged me through the nose.
But was it done well?
I mean, it was done, I suppose.
Quality is not cheap.
Aye, that much is true, but it's meant to be me that overcharges for quality, not other people.
Fair enough.
Isn't it better if all our pockets are lined?
No, frankly, we've got less lining for everybody else and more for me is far more to my liking. But, as it goes, a pleasure to do business with you, Elmore, King of the Scarlet Rose.
I will bow and tip my hat to him.
Skeleton beer salesman. Whatever will they do next?
As Elmore's walking away, he's just be like, pompous dwarf. Kinda calls himself a brewer.
Yeah, cool. You've met Ivan Barrel Thumper. I do have a picture of him somewhere. I'll chuck it in the handouts in Mechania when I can manage. Where are we going? What are we doing? Who are we doing? Why are we doing them?
What else we got here up on the top floor?
Where is the smelting belt?
Probably second floor.
First floor down, yeah.
Yeah.
On the top floor, the only other person who you may want to speak to about something is Fizzkill. Other than that, everybody else is... Oh, which is a shop, I think. Fizzkill is automaton parts. Everything else is on a floor lower.
Okay. Like the tailor and everything is all below. Oh, okay, well then.
I think we need the
I think we
automaton
need-
parts right now.
Yeah, no.
So. Yeah.
I mean, we don't ever plan to take, what was his name again? C4?
No.
C for assistance, yeah.
Could we take him out with us?
Could you what, sorry?
Could we, like, take him into dungeons with us?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not very useful, but he can unlock doors. He doesn't steal your XP either.
I mean,
I
just
can
as
do
well
that.
as useful as R2D2 was.
No, him and Sethi are not...
R2D2.
Yeah, R2D2 is
star.
very useful. No, he is not useful. In any way whatsoever. But he does exist, which I suppose is something.
Well, as Bellows would say, this floor is very boring.
Yes, yes, it is.
Let's head on down.
Agreed.
Cool.
Alright.
Once we're down the next floor, where are we going?
I guess either the smelting belt or the was it the hardware store? Is anyone in need of or what's the armor shop called?
Smelting belt was most of the armor.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I don't know
oh,
if that-
But now.
Hammer time is the weaponry and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then there's like just materials at the clank tank, and I kind of between the smelting belt and the clank tank, I want to try to get, or my own knowledge as a Smith's Tools proficient person, get a sense of like what did we actually get, right? Like how much do we have in terms of making anything? We have like
It was some adamant or
Yeah,
adamant.
we-
10
Yeah,
mithril
some-
scrap. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what that adds up to. Is that like 10 little tiny nothings or?
like little billets.
I think if you have a look at the blueprints, which are...
On relics and rarities.
Yeah, I think some of them require mithril scraps. So that's sort of what that's regarding.
I see, I don't know.
Oh, you don't... Okay, the blueprint
Blueprints.
recipes aren't there, yeah. I've got them separately. Oh, because you have to buy them, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's how that works. What an idiot, me.
Where are they even listed though?
They're listed in relics and rarities. That was the fat bastard, by the way. I love them.
I don't.
Spellguard shield. It's in between the Clank Tank and Stormforge on the Shops of Xandros document.
Right. Oh, and that's.
Those are the
These are-
blueprints. And then...
I see.
yeah,
Okay.
so for
I didn't
example...
understand that. I thought these were just items we could buy.
No. Those are
okay,
recipes
yeah,
you can buy.
I thought so
different-
too at first,
insane.
and then I was like, these prices are amazing. What the fuck's going on? man?
Yeah. Like,
No.
150 for wad of lightning bolts? Holy crap! I'm buying 10.
Yeah, and mithril scraps also you can have. It's 10 mithril scraps to a mithril plate, or to a mithril block,
Okay.
which can then be used to other things. And I think you have like 10 or 12 or something, right?
Yeah,
8 or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, cool. But yeah, I mean, you're welcome to go and answer them questions. We'll do it in RP. I mean, hell, we're going to waste an entire session in Mechania's doing jack shit. We might as well have fun with it.
Oh, I have a
Well,
question
yeah,
actually.
without rarity.
I have a question. Have we sold the gems yet?
I mean, you can have sold the gems if you want to have sold the gems. But you don't...
Can we also just kind of spend them like money?
Yeah, I suppose we could.
Yes
I
and
don't know if
no.
everyone take it.
I think that-
Most places, sure, but like not only those that are relevant. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't go and pay for potatoes with them,
Yeah, yeah. Like
or
the
a
guy,
beer. You know.
Yeah.
yeah, just drop like 1,000 gold piece
Do
rubies.
you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So yes, those that wouldn't require change.
Can you break this up, please?
Sorry, somebody said they wanted to go to. Was it the Clank Tank? Is that right? Is that where we're going first?
Well, I mean, it's to figure that stuff out, and I suppose sort of know that. But
Well, the more you know.
Blade, buckle.
Yeah, so mithril scraps you can use... Oh, sorry, I've got it wrong. It's 5 for plate, buckle, bolt, rod, and blade. Or 10 for a block. Scraps, that is. Because obviously they can be smelted and reconfigured.
Alright.
Well, we're calling it a bar. I've called it a bar in some places and a block in others. That's mean, isn't it? Bar is correct. Oh no, the block is wood. Sorry. Yeah, I wrote this whole system and then my brain sort of forgot about it for a while because that was ages ago. I've created 3 campaigns since then. Good God, brain is shut down. Yeah, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, but 'tis in your hands.
Well, do we want to see what we can build ourselves or whatever between our mithril, our adamantine, and then kind of double check on the smelting belt to, I don't know, get anything made we can't make ourselves or something?
The smelting belt is also where you would potentially use their tools to create your own stuff, right?
Yeah, and when we had talked to that guy, or I had earlier about
your adamantine breastplate.
Adamantine armor. Yeah.
Yep.
I'd like to visit that Garrick fellow after the smelting belt, perhaps.
So smelting belts, right? As you come on down to the second level, you hear the sort of continuous ringing of hammers, the continuous forging of various different things going on. And indeed, it seems sort of busy down here. There's sort of smells and cranks and noises sort of coming out of all sort of different places. And yeah, if you go in first to the smelting belt, you will see our resident smelter looking very, very busy, currently working away on what looks to be an ornate sort of ceremonial piece.
It's a mighty fine piece of hardware you got there.
For what it's worth. Couldn't take a hit from a blacksmith's hammer, to be honest. But it looks pretty enough, I guess. Who on earth would wear an armor made of silver?
Perhaps they want it to be very conductive.
Conductive? Is that like productive?
Yes, after a fashion.
Perhaps they do. I think he's an ostentatious imbecile.
Maybe he wants to wrestle werewolves. No?
Funny you should say that. He was a lycanthrope.
Would that not make him exceedingly uncomfortable?
Well, so you might think, but apparently not. They've overcome their weakness to silver over time.
You're like wrapping yourself in poison ivy. That sounds terrible.
It's very BDSM.
Well, I don't necessarily know that he was requisitioning it for himself. It is a little small for him. He came with measurements. Perhaps a gift, I don't know.
Perhaps.
An ironic gift, I suppose. You do touch on something amusing.
Be very weird taste, but
4,000 gold on a joke. Could be interesting.
Silver might be a strange material. Have you done any work in mithril?
Oh, I do some work in mithril when I can. Can be difficult to get your hands on it. Expensive stuff. Small works, sure. I tend to do little bits, but the last time I made a mithril chain was 31 years ago, I believe. Yargoot. He's put on some guts since then, but he might still fit it. Why is mithril what you're interested in?
Well, I've spent some time over Anvil myself, and we've come across some ancient tools that seem to be performing mithril work, and an older book of their techniques. Thought I might try my hand at it.
Oh, is that so? You sure it's not a fraud? Lots of people saying they can work mithril, but few of those people are not dwarves, if they're telling truths.
Well, it was found in a dwarven, what do we call it? Tomb? Was it a...
Yes.
Oh. Well, now we're talking something of interest. If I might pore over the book with you, then you're more than welcome to figure it out in here. My tools have been passed down from my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, long before the Sundering. I suppose they'd be requisitioned as ancient dwarven tools too. They're for working mithril, and you're right. You need the right tools. Capped with diamonds they are. Do you perhaps want to spend some time having a look together?
Sounds fine.
I've got a new barrel of ale out back. That's incredibly relevant for dwarven smithing.
Where they quench stuff.
No.
Well, if all the necessary materials are present,
That'd be a
then-
terrible idea to quench in beer.
I do have
The sugars would burn.
I do have some materials here that you're welcome to use, but the more expensive stuff, I can't
Well, I
spare
meant the
mithril.
ale, but
Yes. Well, that of course is always necessary.
Well, we'll let you boys get to work, perhaps. Mosey around.
Yes. Yes. Do try to bother him about the possibility of an adamantine breastplate, if you would, when you have a moment.
An adamantine breastplate. Oh, I promised you one if you came up with the money.
Indeed.
Have you got the money?
I have some money, and we have some adamantine as well, if that could offset the cost.
Most definitely. How much was he charging you for the ammo?
It was 850.
What was
It was
it?
300 more than the adamantine chain shirt.
Aye, if you have the adamantine, then that's half the cost.
And we have a bolt of adamantine and 5 scraps.
The bolt is useless to him. If you give him
Yeah.
3 scraps, he'll charge you 425.
Okay.
Hey.
But yeah, financially, you may be better off not giving him the adamantine.
Paying him
Just
the
a heads
850.
up. Yeah, you could probably use the adamantine to make things expensive enough that it would be more financially viable to do so, because adamantine's used in other stuff, right? Like guns and I don't know, gadgets and cool, funky stuff.
sure.
But you can, by all means, if you want to give him the adamantine, you can always buy it back off him
Oh, yeah.
True.
in requisitioned form,
Well, yeah, I'm not sure how likely we are to run into more of it in the future. I imagine less likely outside of a dwarven tomb.
Very much so.
All right. We'll just give him the money then.
Right.
Save the adamantine.
Well, perhaps you might help me with this. And he sort of gestures towards Bellows. And, are you busy this afternoon?
I can't think of much more to do here than this.
Yeah, Bellows hates it here anyway.
Yeah.
You do? Well, that makes 2 of us. Come on back. And he'll lead you out the back where you can join him. Go ahead and give me a constitution check with your proficiency modifier, please. Okay. Unless I've currently set you up with blacksmith's tools, I don't know if I have.
No.
I'm gonna activate my trap card.
We have an old leftover inspiration that I guess is expired. Let's see here. So we're at +3, so 12.
12? Yeah, okay. You get on pretty well in it. We're waiting.
Activating my trap card.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't realise it was...
I thought that was a Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
It is, but I'm also activating my card.
But it's also a mechanic that's affecting our current game. Okay.
So basically, as we've been walking around town, Felix is just kind of like, not being bored, but he's just kind of like chilling, I guess. He's in his own like space. And he's just been like flicking through each of his cards. And then he landed on the Wheel of Fortune, which is the one I'm going to activate. And that replaces itself with another card. And the other card I drew was the star, and it can either double the effect of the next card, or you can put the next card on 2 people. I'm going to double the effect of the star, which is give Jodai 2 d10s of inspirational die, and if he succeeds whilst using those die, he has advantage on his next either ability check, saving throw, or attack roll.
Damn.
Okay, so let's rehash that in very simple terms, right? You basically have 2 die 10s of inspiration. When you spend them, if you succeed having spent one, then the next time you make an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you will have advantage.
I see.
There is a sort of definitive, like, they'll last a day, or an hour, or however long it is. How long it is, Josh?
It doesn't actually say. I mean, obviously the inspirational die will last a minute, maybe?
No, I think it says all effects, blah, 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 yada, yada, last X amount of time unless otherwise specified. At the top. I'll open your character sheet. Joe, I would assume it lasts an hour, but go ahead and add a D10 of inspiration.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's a weird one because I'm not really sure you can fail or succeed, but...
Well worth it for a 10, so 22 instead.
Holy shit. Yeah, we'll most definitely say that you would potentially have advantage on any further checks made in there. But the interesting thing is that with that you will gain full information, so... Velos now has learned how to work mithril.
Hey,
and should you have access to a decent forge, you can turn a mithril scraps into mithril blocks, or bars, and mithril bars in turn into bolts and buckles and, other things, blades, etc.
Blades.
Alright.
Wicked.
Oh. Really? Sorry, why can't I just tell I just dribbled all over my arm for no good reason?
Ew.
And leaves. Fucking rude bitch. Just it says, if you bind an ally, you both receive the benefits of the card for the next hour, unless the card states differently. That's what I was looking for, and so it is, and so it was written. I'm assuming you guys are going to leave Bellows in the smelting belt, smelting away.
We're gonna
For that time that he used, the next hour, I guess.
If it's worth anything, Bellows, you will come out with a tempered and well-sharpened iron dagger. Potentially 3. I was
now,
going
is
to
that using up the scraps we went in with?
No, that's his materials. It's iron, so it's nothing.
Right.
Practice.
It was a Skyrim reference, if that was.
Sorry.
Yes, because you go and he's like, sharpen my dagger, temper my dagger. You can keep my dagger, and you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do with an iron dagger? Yes.
Well, what I'm consider working toward is a mithril half plate, so that I can get up to my highest, but the highest medium armor, but not
without
stealth.
Okay, yeah. Perhaps you might even learn ways of combining mithril and adamantium.
Yeah, well, I was going to wonder about that.
Or having them magicificated. Magicificated, yes. I think the word is enchanted. But never mind. I'll go with magicificated. But regardless, for now, you sort of learn how to work mithril in a more basic sense, sort of bolt to bar to buckle to shoe to, all those sort of little things. But if you wish to come back for another couple of hours the following day, then he will gladly teach you more. And he's very fascinated by the book as he sort of goes through it, and it indeed has plenty of techniques he's not aware of. And he begins sort of testing them on shitty metals. A lot of the metal gives way or, breaks in the process, and he realizes these techniques are for better metals.
Right.
He seems a little reluctant to experiment too much on a larger scale quite yet. But yeah, you would imagine that you could buy the raw materials and then work with him for something bigger.
Well, perhaps instead of experimenting with our mithril right now too much, or getting random daggers, I can at least finish the process started on the ship of turning those +1 hand axes into giving them handles and stuff.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And he will take a great interest in these, and he'll sort of work with you on them. +1 hand axe. But they will crit on a 19 or 20 if thrown.
Oh.
Wow.
As he sort of starts carving intricate marks in that he swears increases the speed at which they fly. Who knows? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. We'll never know. But whatever it is, it seems to crit on a 19 now. So it's something. Cool.
Yeah.
What are the rest of you doing?
I did want to poke my head into relics and rarities and maybe buy a couple of blueprints.
Okay. Relics and rarities. Relics and rarities. Do I have some notes? It's Ecclesius, isn't it? Ecclesius is a fascinating little fellow. He is a gnome. He is a gnome of the rock type. And as you sort of arrive, he looks at you and... Quite. Yes, very well. Good night. And waves practically to an open door. And as you come in, you bump into someone, but you can't see them.
No.
You sort of hear this voice. Sorry! I'm sorry! I'm having trouble. I'm not seen and I'm struggling to see.
Watch yourself, bub.
Yeah. Just gonna what random object do I have on me that I don't mind handing to someone? I'm just gonna hand him my mundane shield.
As you hand it to him, he goes, "Oh, this doesn't work. We've tried it."
Does the shield disappear?
Yeah. Anything
yeah,
worn
it
or
just-
carried, sadly.
Oh, interesting.
It's not bloody interesting. It's flippin' annoying. Have you tried to piss in this situation?
No, but let me try one more thing. We have
I can't
dwarven glitter.
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna
do.
throw a handful of dwarven glitter on him.
Yeah, and it sort of shimmers around him, and you see the sort of the image of a gentleman. He's definitely not dwarven. He's humanoid, sort of 5'6" or so. But, I can see things. Well, sort of things. And he sort of waves his hand around and. But then he begins to sort of slide off, and he slowly becomes less visible as he looks like he's melting into the ground.
Oh, well,
I suppose it's a
worth a try.
temporary fix, but...
Perhaps this will open up new career opportunities for you.
I don't want a new career!
What do you currently do?
Well, as a tradesman, I traded with the scavenger towns. I worked on an airship. I still work on an airship. I own an airship, damn it!
Wow. Would you ever consider working for a treasure rat company?
I might have a treasure rat company working for me. I've got my own damn airship. The problem is that... I don't know. I went to that blasted temple, didn't I, to sell them the flippin' stupid holy water. On their stupid moon day. I thought it was code for don't talk to the women. Apparently it was a real thing. And now look at me. Or don't, I suppose.
I suppose that's what you get for hanging out with furries.
Who said anything about furries?
Oh, wasn't he talking about Lunethra?
No, he went to a temple somewhere else. To the moon.
Oh, interesting.
You're right that most of the temples of the moon are in Lunethra. But this was, he'll tell you. No, this was vampires, messing around with vampires. They worship all the damn gods there, you know, every single one of them. There's a festival every flipping day. Nobody ever remembers which festival's next. City of Evernight. How do they have it precisely the right number of gods with the number of days there are? Ridiculous. He tells you.
Since none of us can see him, right?
You've
sort
got
of
this kind
see
of
him.
glittery figure right now.
Right. Oh, okay. So that's the way we can kind of see like the outline. Of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I am going to.
Come on, cast fairy fire on the poor
Oh
bastard.
man, no! I was hoping I could give this to someone else.
Get around to
but
it.
I can't.
What is it?
I was gonna cast the invisibility on our Korobos, but it's a self spell.
Yes.
So instead, I shall improve my own sight.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, when you cast the invisibility, you see a fellow. He's wearing a long blue cloak, and hanging around his neck is a large pendant with a full moon in the center. And a sort of black metal, like a torque, I guess. And he's wearing a beautiful sort of golden circlet with a black stone at the center, and he looks very ostentatious and well dressed. Oh, and he's blue. He's a Vidalcan.
Then I will
Probably
say,
not relevant.
nice crown.
Crown?
Yeah, you know you're.
He pats his bald head and... What crown?
The bracelet that's on your forehead.
Oh, the circlet? Yes, well, it was useful. It gives me the ability to see in the dark.
Oh, is that what you call them? Huh. I've been calling them head bracelets this whole time.
It's a word. Don't think it means anything, but... Yes, it is 2 words that you have put together. I don't think you can just go around naming things yourself, you know.
So, do you know how to stop all this? I can't make my friends see you.
He looks at you like you're an idiot and sort of... You're asking me if I know how to stop the thing that's plaguing me and causing me so much trouble? Yes, of course I do. I just can't be bothered.
Maybe you like it.
Maybe there's something else stopping you from going and finding the solutions that you know exists.
What solution?
No, I'm just adding relevance to his question, that perhaps you did know how to
I don't
fix
know the solution. If I knew the solution, I'd be in it, or I'd be part of it, or it
how
would
long?
be enacted.
How long has your condition persisted?
5 days!
5 days?
Yes. Pee all over my floor for 5 days.
And this started directly after your meeting with the vampires?
I walked out the temple. They could all see me, apparently. Oh, I'm beginning to wonder if I'm subject to some stupid joke.
Have you
That
been able to see yourself in a reflection?
No. I can't see myself at all. I'm invisible. I think that's what it means. Unless you also go round giving names to things on your own.
We are trying to gather all the information we can so that we may make an informed scientific theory.
As you look over, by the way, Ecclesias, the gnome, is sort of sat on the edge of the counter, pipe in hand, drinking a glass of wine, just watching this fantastic spectacle.
I'm gonna prestidigitation for a while. His whole body, so it's dirty.
Just
Without
soil
me
him.
can see him.
Yeah, he doesn't notice. You do. Because you can see him. That was nice of you.
This seems to be working not
nice
so
is
bad
not
for you, friend.
filthy.
I'm sorry, you said? Skeleton?
I said that seems to be working quite nicely for you, my friend. Your name was?
Oh, my name's Gelby. Well, it's short for Gelberandon, but that's a bloody mouthful. Gelby will do.
Oh, Gilby. It seems that you've been handed a bag of lemons. Now, back where I'm come from, you go out and make lemonades with that.
What's lemonade? Does it cure invisibility?
It could.
We could try.
I've had priests cast dispel magic on me. And they achieve nothing.
Have they attempted to remove a curse?
Yes.
Then perhaps you are doomed.
Thanks.
I agree with Elle. Have you ever thought that maybe this is a blessing in disguise? Fate has a funny way of leading us all on the right path.
I suppose I could steal your coin purse and you wouldn't find me. Well, you would, but somebody else wouldn't.
Actually, everyone else can see you now, so.
Oh! Hi! I can't see me.
I'll wave it up.
Hey, can he not?
Why would
I
they be
mean-
able to... Why would he be able
Because
to...
I made him dirty.
No, nothing changed it. You could see that he got dirty, but nobody else could see anything different.
Oh, fuck.
He's just now wearing dirt, which technically is wearing or carrying something.
Play him really fast.
That we should hand him poles of longer and longer lengths and see how long of a pole he can make turn invisible with him. For science! Give him like a 3-foot pole.
I'm
like
not
a
an
10-foot pole.
experiment! Please, help me!
Oh, but you could be! You could aspire to be more than what you were born to be.
I just aspire to be what I was born to be. Visible!
Wait, so like,
You can make
if-
an Arcana check, by the way, Felix, while all this is going on. Carry
So,
on.
I mean, correct me if I'm. I probably am wrong. With invisibility stuff, right? When it's cast, it's things that you're carrying on wearing in that moment. But if I put something on him and that also goes invisible, this is a continuous effect, right?
Might
Well,
not
you would
be
assume that by the
invisibility.
fact he's been invisible for 5 days.
Well, I don't know that. I don't
You do,
dabble in
actually.
vampire curses.
But yes, 5 days he's been invisible. You can give me an Arcana check while you're at it. Because some of the things he's wearing seem very magical. The circlet seems magical.
I got a 17.
The necklace seems very magical. The bracelets at his wrists seem magical. The cloak seems magical. Maybe.
Sure does love his jewelry. That was a 17, by the way.
Yeah, I heard. That's why I told you all those extras.
Sorry.
You think that any of your magical items may be interfering with either how the curse was placed upon you or the removal process?
I will let you go there, Arcanavos, but technically you can't see any of the magical items.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I wanted to say something, but fuck.
But yeah, nope. You
Yeah,
have
but I
no
want the
idea.
conversation to grind to a halt.
Yes, so he sort of, well, they might, I suppose. And he takes off his bracelets and he puts them on the table. The left one becomes a shield and the right one becomes a sword. He takes off his circlet and puts it on the table, and that sees in the dark. And then he takes off his cloak, and that changes into many different colours. And then he takes off his belt, and that allows me to lift more. He takes out a pouch of holding, and he puts it down, and that is an extra dimensional space. Oh, one more thing, and he takes a beautiful feather from sort of behind his, sort of in his back, sort of like in his, what do you call it, in his doublet, and takes a feather out and puts it on the table, and that summons a damn bird.
When he took off the belt, did his pants stay up, or am I looking
Yes.
at a half naked?
Well, he also had them on under a robe and a sort of over robe, so you wouldn't have known anyway.
Okay.
No, but the one thing he didn't remove was the necklace.
Can you remove that necklace?
Necklace? And he puts his hands, and his hands go through it. What necklace?
Oh, can I approach him and? I'll say to him. I'll say, can I enter your space?
Of course you can. Please do. I don't see a necklace. I don't see
Okay.
anything.
I will approach him and I will respectfully try to
him.
remove said necklace.
As soon as you place your fingers on the necklace, you disappear.
Oh no!
So much fun.
And what if I take my fingers off?
Felix,
As soon as you take your fingers off, you reappear.
I'm gonna turn.
I'm gonna put my hand on Felix and be like, grabs the necklace again. And then I'm gonna grab Elmore.
This is fun, and then I'll put my hand back on.
You two stay visible. He doesn't.
Okay, we are learning more of the parameters. This is good. This is good. Mr.
Yeah,
Gillespie.
you went invisible, and your hands felt like they went through the necklace. The gnome sort of, can you put my hand on it? Wanders over, puts his hand up.
I'll lift him. I'll lift him up.
I am not an experiment! And then the gnome disappears and woohoo! Comes back and as he Ecclesias out. Well, this is quite exciting, isn't it? Yes. Well, any solutions, guys?
Well, it would appear you have been bamboozled by the vampires that you have
Indeed.
parlayed with.
I should make it very clear, just to, in case I haven't. His shirt is open. Okay,
No.
that is. I don't know if that's relevant. Well, I mean, I know it's relevant, but I don't know if you are misunderstanding that.
Well,
Perhaps. What if you did a headstand?
ooh,
See if it
perhaps
slides off.
You see him?
Yeah, yeah,
Only
my God.
Felix seems to pull this face. And I did describe it as a sort of torque. I don't know if you know what a torque is, but it's like
like a
a
choker.
solid piece of metal. Like so
yeah.
basically,
Yeah,
but I think for the purpose of science, we'll get him to do a headstand. He'll sort of reluctantly give in, and when he does, the necklace sort of hits his
Oh,
chin.
I know. Maybe it's just really simple. I'll walk around him and see if there's just a little thing to unclip it.
There is a catch.
Oh, then I'll just try to unclip it.
As you touch it, you go invisible, and your hand goes through it. I wish Bellows was here.
Ooh, is there like a 4x4 with a little hook on it that I can try and unlock it with that?
I think it's like an ethereal
A
necklace.
fork, a knife, whatever.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be a person. It's just any object that touches it. Oh, being so stupid, I'll mage
Sure.
hand it
So,
off.
yeah, so you can mage
there we
hand it
go.
off, you can do it with a cloth in your hand, you can flick it with a fork, and as you do so, it comes undone and lands on the floor and promptly goes invisible, which is really annoying because you're never going to find that bugger again.
I can.
You can, actually, you can see it.
I will mage hand
He
it.
sort of appears
in-
and, I'm going to the toilet! And he runs out the back of the shop to go to the bathroom at Ecclesias's place.
All right, we're gonna steal all his magic items that are still
Yeah.
sitting on the counter.
Ecclesias looks at you and he's a good friend of mine, if you don't mind.
Fine, we won't steal the magic items.
I'm gonna try and slyly mage hand the necklace into my pocket.
Yeah?
Cool.
But when he comes out, and if you can find the damn thing, you can bloody well keep it. I don't want it. I don't even remember putting a necklace on. I'm sure I didn't put a necklace on. I did drink a lot of wine in that ceremony. Well,
That is the vampire way.
it is. They can just keep drinking it. They don't seem to get any more drunk. Just keep drinking it. Rude. Obnoxious.
But James,
They're terrible creatures.
is it an actual item on D&D Beyond?
It isn't.
Okay. I'll just remember. It's fine.
Could be, yeah. There is some, yeah. It does make things invisible, but there are some problems with it as well.
Yeah, it seems like there's a little.
Yes, it might not be. It might not be quite so simple as I can put that on and be invisible in combat because I'm not giving you that. You'll see.
Time to multi-class into rogue.
Sure, but unfortunately, anything you pick up will inevitably go through your hands or something. I don't know. I'll find a way of restricting you. No magical work while you're wearing it. There you go. Easy. I'm not having a cloak of invisibility on you. I've made that mistake in one campaign. I thought it ended like the normal spell when they cast a spell or use a weapon attack, and then swiftly discovered it doesn't. They were level 4. Oops. But anyway, so yes, he sort of looks at you and, well, you're quite magnificent.
Indeed.
Can't say I haven't heard that before.
Well, I can think of a few ways to reward you, but did you mention your treasure rats?
Indeed,
That's
sir.
what you said?
Indeed, we did.
I, picked up this map, but when we got there, it looked a little dangerous for us. Perhaps you might use it.
Danger is our speciality.
It's apparently a treasure vault, though there are quite dangerous monsters outside. And he'll hand you a map to the Vault of Dolgan.
Working.
The Vault of Dolgan is not far from the city of Evernight, actually. Ironically. I will, how do they say, put a pin in it for you. Yeah. Cool. Ecclesias looks at you, and I don't suppose you came in for business, did you?
That is our original intention, yes.
Fabulous. Excuse my friend here, he can be quite the distraction. I'll see you soon, Galby, and I actually will see you. And then he sort of very quietly says to you, I preferred him invisible, frankly. God, those Vidalcan are ugly folk.
Oh, but delicious.
Are they? Huh. Perhaps on his, when he gets close to his death, we could arrange for him to become dinner. He smiles. Obviously, he has not considered that you might actually be serious about eating the
Yeah,
death.
I was going to say.
But we are told that you are the seller of, purveyor of blueprints for items.
Oh, well, indeed. That is what I do. Blueprints is my thing. Yes, bear with me a second. I'm just putting a pin on a map. There we go. I haven't labelled it, but it's the black pin.
Nah.
Cool.
In the city of
Is someone shouting? No, okay. Cool, I thought on the track somebody was shouting. I do, Blueprint. What of them?
Well, we have recently come into a bit of wealth, as well as finding many reagents and such that perhaps we would build a thing.
Build a thing! What an excellent idea. What sort of thing were you looking to build? I've got blueprints here for a spell guard shield, obsidian flint dragon plate.
Ooh, another shield to add to your collection, Corvos.
Oh yes, actually, that one was of particular interest, as well as the blast scepter.
Oh, yes. The blast scepter is, well, quite the thing, you know? It, boom! Yes, the most interesting of the ingredients is a remoraz egg. So without one of those, it won't be all that useful. But it's cheap, I suppose. What was the other thing you were interested in?
The spell guard shield.
Did I count that as No, it's shields and armor. Imagine that. Yes. Well, that's got quite a few. Well, a couple of items. You could perhaps purchase the scroll of globe of invulnerability here, but a beholder's eye might be a little more difficult to attain. Though I will say, if you can find a beholder, they have quite a few of them usually. Eyes,
yes.
that is.
April. Oh. Indeed. And they survive the process of ceramorphosis. Though at the beholder level it is no longer entirely ceramorphosis. It is a delight to see, though.
Ceramorphosis?
Yes.
It's,
I don't know what that means.
It's best not
okay.
it's best not to ask.
Yeah, I'm just gonna plow through it. But yes, having the recipes for the spell guard shield and the blast scepter now will let me know what I need to keep an eye out for and collect.
Well, indeed.
That, I can build them in the future.
Okay. And with that, he will hand you. Are you paying? Yes.
Yep, I'll pay for it.
So that is the blast scepter.
Uh-huh.
I was prepared for this. Look at me. I'm never prepared for anything. He sort of looks at you, and given that you helped my friend, here, and he'll hand you the blueprint for a drift globe as well. Mostly because I don't think you'll ever be useful to you, and I like to sell all the things in my shops.
Yep. Fine. All right. Perfect.
Cool.
I have a blueprint for a belt that can glow you a bit. Might even work on you, and he points to L. It does do some other things, but that's the most interesting part of it.
I sort of stroke my hard chin, and I prefer the clean-shaven look. Thank you, though. Maybe Bellows would be interested.
Bellows? As in?
No, steamy gymnastics.
Spelling.
Speaking of which, I think we can just sort of go, Bellows turns up. Because I really, Joe, I didn't realise we were going to leave you for so long. I thought we were going to pop into a shop and then pop out, and I'd be like, oh, you bump into Bellows. Yes.
Bellows, this gnome has a blueprint for a belt that can allow you to grow a beard. Isn't that fascinating?
You don't like this cloud I have already? Maybe you wouldn't even see it through all this.
I'm most interested in what happens if our Corvos grows little mini beards on all of his tentacles.
I think octopus.
Perhaps it'll fill up your bubbles.
Might be worth looking into. What else have you got already?
Corvos is collecting blueprints for a shield and some sort of scepter that goes boom.
Look through stuff.
He has a dwarven thrower, dwarven plate, obsidian flint dragon plate, a wand of lightning bolts, a watchful helm, and a belt of dwarven kind that can grow you a beard.
And I think speak dwarven.
And I think it increases your constitution as well.
Yeah.
The dwarven thrower and dwarven plate require attunement by a dwarf, I believe.
I think so.
No. In this case, no. I mean, yes, but no. Yeah, I won't ever offer you blueprints for something you can't physically use. I'm very flexible with attunement. Oh, where have we got the theme tune on? How did that happen?
Nice.
Apparently we're taking a break. Is it time to take a break? It is time to take a break. We'll take a break!
Right.
All right.
Boom, shake the room, we're here. Hello. Cool. We were in a blueprint shop. Yes, we were.
Yep.
We were just leaving, I think, actually, in fact.
Free. I'm done.
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
Well, that
Oh, no, Bellows was looking
Sorry,
at us.
yes.
that helm might be of more interest than the beard.
And how could a helm be more interesting than a beard?
For these prices, perhaps just so we know what to look out for, we'll know whether it's useful when we find it.
Well, so he will tell you the key item for free if you want, because he's nice like that. What would I call this? Crafting, yes. So the key item of a watchful helm. Oh, you'll love this! It's a wyvern eye.
No!
Well, they should have 2 each, right?
Do you want to?
That's true.
Do you want to buy the rest of the recipe then?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Great.
Well, yeah.
Well, yes. When you find the wyvern eye, you can. Oh, there's a whole instruction on how to make it there. I think they all have that actually, but I'd just forgotten. Regardless, yeah. Now, once you've bought that, I don't suppose. You seem to be collecting things on your travels, right? I suppose that is in the nature of treasure and hunting. If you do find any unusual items, if you could bring them to me to appraise them, perhaps see how they're made before you part ways with them or anything, I'd be most grateful. Say, I'll give you twice the cost of the recipe. If you do come across any unusual magical items. I don't suppose you have come across any unusual magical items.
I actually have.
If you offer him that invisible
I have
necklace.
this necklace that can turn you invisible. I know it's book dropping shocking.
Well, unfortunately, the only problem with that one is that it's invisible, so I can't see how it was made. Also, it seems to be quite magical in nature. Anything else you've come across in your travels?
Well, what about just components? I'd be curious to know if you have any idea what we might do with these motes of elemental earth.
Oh, well, indeed. I've heard rumours, though I personally haven't seen them done. They can be used for summoning, controlling, or elementals, or in fact for casting certain elemental spells and and such. A friend of mine has a shield that casts Fire Shield. That requires motes of elemental earth. Perhaps my colleagues over at Perdition or Academius, they specialise in the most magical of items. Lazarus too. We're more of the mechanical constructy stuff here, you know, dwarven items and such.
There's not always as much distance between the two as you might think, but I understand.
No, indeed, there is almost no difference. It's just we each have our specialities. No other magical items of perhaps dwarven nature.
No, but can I sell him my wand of pyrotechnics?
Yes, but do bear in mind it does actually cast pyrotechnics, yes.
I know.
Okay.
I just don't want to.
He'll look at it and yes, you could sell this, but not to me, unfortunately. You'll need to sell it to the magic items dude.
Did you just ask us
We
if we
do
had
have that dwarven bolt thrower.
He'll appraise it. He'll appraise it and see if he can see what he can do with it. He'll give you 10 gold for just having a look at it. And then giving it back.
Oh, he can have a look. I'll take 10 gold.
He'll take a look and give you 10 gold. Sorry, did you offer him a dwarven something? Dwarven bolt thrower?
Dwarven...
Yeah. That's the item I was reaching for. He will say to you, great! If you can leave this with me for 24 hours or so, I'll gladly give you some gold. I don't know quite how much it'll fetch yet. I need to see the price of the parts.
This seems very reasonable.
That's agreeable to me.
Excellent. To where shall I return the item and the gold? Or would you like to come down tomorrow and collect it?
The Scarlet Rose, if you don't see us.
The Scarlet Rose? Excellent. Will do. Well, most thank you.
All right.
Most appreciated.
Yeah. I think we're good.
What about? I'm very hesitant to even turn it over to him because I find it fascinating, both as a player and as a character. But I would like to show him the egg that exudes water
Oh, 50
because
gallons
it
water.
seems very interesting.
He takes one look at it and goes, I am afraid this is not something that is made, well, at least not by humankind. This is an item of godly nature. Pre-sundering. Fascinating. May I? And he sort of reaches out his hands for it.
Be careful with it.
Yes, and he sort of places it over his goblet, and a small bit of water sort of squirts out of it rather crudely. Wow. That's amazing. I do know of somebody who would pay you very handsomely for this, should you wish to part with it, which I understand I wouldn't either. And he sort of puts it back in your hands, but there is a collector at Arenas starting a museum of sorts. I understand that he is mostly interested in art, though this could well be regarded as art. His name is Brutus. There's an animated armor in Arenas. Fabulous museum he's got going.
Brutus?
Yes, Brutus, the animated armor. He's well worth chatting to when you get to Arenas eventually and get stuck there for like a month, because you thought I went mad with the quest in Mechania. Well, Arenas is rife with the bastards. But he sort of looks at you, and I'm so grateful you brought me this even just to look at. Fascinating. Beautiful. Perhaps belonged to one of those old water gods before sundering smoked them out of the sky. Sad times. Maybe you should ask the vampires about it. They probably have a celebration for it. Well.
And get ourselves turned invisible.
Or that.
Did you, when I was barely paying attention because I wasn't there, did you guys already talk to him about? Because he gave you the drift globe blueprint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, does he have any sense of like being easier by making it out, like repairing the cracked drift globe that we have?
He
You
will
have one of
simply
those.
tell you that you need a fresh crystal ball.
Starting all over then.
Well, no, you won't need any more other components, but the crystal ball fresh would be useful. I think, what's his damn name? Sells them for, I don't know, 50 gold or so. Which ironically I think is the same price as a grift globe. But such is life. Yeah. I can't remember his fucking name anyway.
Well, then the cracked
Stupid
one is
idiot.
more interesting, goddammit.
Yep.
Yes, what's his name? Finerius. Well, that's why I couldn't bloody remember it. And all your adventuring needs, the general goods store. Well, is there anything else I can do for you? I'm passing
This
hungry.
is all I can think of. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes, I think that's quite long enough with that twat. Yes, cool. Is there anybody who wishes to visit the Silver Shield, the Clank Tank, the Perfect Facet, the Hardware Store,
Ooh.
Hammer Time, or
Hardware Store.
Stormforged?
I'd like
Hammer-
to go to the perfect facet.
There you go.
Perfect Facet, and you said the Hardware Store, right? The Hardware Store is the
Correct.
last store on the way out, so we'll go there last on this floor.
Nice.
What about
Um,
Stormforged?
Yes,
Oh,
Stormforged
Stormforged too.
is next door, so let's go there.
Alright, good.
Yeah, as you wander on into Stormforged, you'll be so glad to know that you'll meet Omnic. Omnic is wonderful. He has 8 perfectly spaced eyes around his head, and if anything, the only way I can describe it is he looks a bit like a Dalek. Yeah, but he has 8 arms. And he sort of spins on the spot and... Greetings. How might I be of assistance?
Well, we've heard you improve weaponry around here.
I improve everything. but weapons is my speciality.
What about this one? A little unusual.
3 arms reach out.
Hand him my giant spanner.
He spins and he places it upon a plinth, which sort of begins to scan it up and down. I believe this has already has a weapon attachment improvement enhancement device attached. There are currently some spaces available. What sort of improvements were you looking for?
Well, just to make it a little more accurate, I think. I heard you do some elemental things, but I don't know that I have the right gems for that sort of thing.
Do you plan on throwing it? Or do you mean accurate to swing in combat?
Swinging only.
Excellent. Do you have the relevant diamond?
I believe that I do.
Yeah, any diamond worth 500 gold pieces, which I think you've got like 5 of them or something.
Oh, yeah.
Some amount.
Yeah.
In that case, it will be 500 gold pieces for a +1 enchantment. Or perhaps you wish to enchant it further.
Well, I would love to enchant it further, but I would have to sell off a bunch of these other gems to do it.
Up to you guys.
We'll start where we start.
Just bear in mind that once an enhancement is attached, there's no going back, remember?
Alright.
The attunement is
I'd be willing
permanent.
to- If you wanted one of like the elemental damage things too, I'd be
Well, no, I think
okay
the
with
only-
those
selling some
So-
diamonds or selling some gold for that. Or-
Yeah, the difference is, like, if you put a +1 in, you won't later be able to put a +2 in. Right, is
Yeah,
the
you can
point.
still
You can
add
put an
+2
elemental
in.
gem later on. It's just the +1, +2, +3 choice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 3,500 for the +2, right?
Right. Well,
Crowdfunding.
that, I mean, if we had... I could eat, when we had it split up, with them all sold off, it was well within my portion to do this.
Yeah.
So it's not like I would be taking... But now we know they're useful for other things, so...
I mean, everything's useful for something, right? But
Yeah. And I
can
mean,
sell
I
some
imagine
crap.
we'll find more gems here and there, so
Well,
I'd be
yeah,
willing
I
to
mean,
sell something to get you a +2.
obviously, as long as you're not
treasure
selling
hunters,
the
yeah.
diamond that you're using.
Right.
For an example, the ruby that gives the 2d6 fire damage is worth 3,000 gold pieces. It's a big bastard. So you could just trade that in and pay 500 gold if you wish.
I mean,
we have
Elmer's
some-
willing to take his luck with with Garrick at the hardware shop to see if he can improve it. His boomcaster. So
Yes, of course. Sorry.
Yeah,
Don't
cool,
sell
yeah.
that.
I don't necessarily need it.
boomcaster.
Plus, it's pretty pricey. I mean, the 6,600.
Well,
I don't
we
know.
have 4 rubies that are worth 5,000 each.
Yes. So you could trade
Yeah,
one of
so
those
we
in and
want to
get
sell one of
1,500
those
back.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
Yep.
just do that.
all
'cause
for that.
Cool.
won't
So
be
as you
buying
hand him a beautiful
that many.
ruby, those are the rubies that would give you 3d6 of fire damage, if you haven't worked that out by now. But you've still got 3, and how many fucking weapons can you enhance at once? Exactly. So, yeah, he will give you 1,500 gold back, and tell you that you need to leave your weapon here. Sorry. But
alright,
it's 24
it's alright.
hours, and he says, it takes approximately 24 hours, and don't worry, I don't sleep.
I've had worse reasons to be stuck in this town for a day.
This is a most magnificent weapon and prototype. I like it.
Glad to hear it.
Is there anything else that I can be of assistance with?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Thank
Prices
you.
are pretty steep here.
Yeah.
I
All
think,
for now.
Yeah.
My prices are for the work that I do. You will be hard-pressed to find anybody as efficient as I am, or as cheap. And he's actually not lying. If you were to look in other cities, this is the cheapest city for this. Like, this is what Mechania specialize in, right? Is melee weapons. You won't find them in many other places. So, yeah. Regardless, he sort of looks at you and, thank you for your custom.
See you tomorrow.
That I will. And sort of, he's already working and speaking out the back of his head with his arms facing it. I just love the idea of this weird, like, spider-like creature that's just perfectly spherical. I couldn't find a picture on the internet, sadly. I have to get it requisitioned. Regardless, if you don't need anything else from him, you may leave. And the next place was the Perfect Facet, is that correct? Sorry, I need to go back to the beginning again. Perfect Facet, the Perfect Facet. Who is the Perfect
There we go,
Facet?
yep.
Amaryllis. Yeah, okay, there's no specific question here. So if you want to just go, I go in and buy a ring, and you're more than welcome to. She's a beautiful water genasi female.
I go in and buy a ring.
What ring do you buy?
I am going to buy a Twist of Fate ring.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's she sells it to you at the price stated. And if you don't need anything else, we'll just fast forward onwards. There's only so much shopping one can do. And you're popping into the hardware store, is that correct?
Yes, please.
What were you hoping to do there?
I wanted to talk to this Garrick character about upgrading the old boomcaster, the mechanical or the firearm mechanic part of the boomcaster. Anyway,
So Garrick is a rather what's the word? Rough-looking vampire, and he sort of looks over at you. What's the nature of it? What do you want? Sorry, Miyago, I think it's you. I'm getting some weird static coming through. What's the nature of what you want?
well, got this old girl here needs some sprucing up, I think. And I'll lay the boomcaster on the table in front of me and flip it over so you can see that it is in fact a firearm.
Custom piece like this, not easy to work with, but I can do a few things. What did you have in mind? So,
Well, I mean-
really specifically, you could potentially have this made into a +1 weapon, but you do have a holster that makes your bullets magical now, right? So you would only be getting the actual +1 to hit, right? You could have it crit on a 19. What else do we have here? Go to Stoneforged, which is where some of the upgrades are written. There we
Could I
go.
supplement like the firearm that's currently in there?
In what sense?
So, for example, like right now, I think it's a musket,
Yeah,
but-
you'd like to turn it into
like a bolt-action rifle or a shotgun or a hunting rifle. Any of the
bolt
other-
action rifle. He could do. He can't make it a shotgun. It's just a different type of weapon. But a bolt action rifle he could do. There is potentially the ability to make it into a more sort of automatic 8-clip weapon, but that will cost you 12,000 gold.
12,000. That was the other question: is if you can make it so that I didn't have to reload on every other
not,
turn.
not
basically.
anytime soon, love. Well, I mean, technically, it's only 2 rubies and a diamond or something, right? It is feasibly possible.
Am I seeing this right? That a bolt-action rifle is a 2d10.
Yeah. Isn't your musket also... No, it's a 1d12, isn't it?
It's a 1d12.
Yeah, 2d10.
I mean, how much would that cost?
That will cost you... Really? That will cost you 2,500 gold, and it will also cost you 1,000 golds worth of diamond dust, or 2,500 gold piece diamonds, or 1,000 gold piece diamond, which is how they upgrade guns. Though the ruby does something specific if you do show it to.
I'll show it to him.
Yeah. Wow. That's a piece of equipment there. This could do something a little unusual. Bit of blowback, if you know what I mean. Bit of an explosion on hit.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah. Literally, it does an additional 2d6 fire damage in a 5-foot radius around the enemy. He will charge you 3,000 gold for doing it, though.
So it's either 3,000 gold for that, or the how much for upgrading?
2,500 plus 500 gold piece diamonds, or 1,000 gold.
Well, that's all of our diamonds.
Excuse me. I'll be back in a moment.
That's all of our
Cat-related
diamonds,
flood.
and I don't even have enough to cover it.
I'm trying to drink out of a pint glass.
Oh no!
I think she realizes she's a cat.
And maybe you get the fire damage for now, and then
upgrade the actual weapon at some.
upgrade the
other
actual
point.
weapon later. And for the time being, without
I mean, at
maybe,
some
as
point,
long
I'd
as
hope
stuff's not
to.
doing bludgeoning damage, you can fire your musket,
Yeah.
throw it on your back, flame tongue some guys.
I do love the flame tongue.
Mm.
Are we opposed to selling any of our?
Don't you make puppy dog eyes at me.
I do want to keep what is required for the blast rod, even though it's probably going to be forever until we can get a Ramirez egg. But it's a sapphire and a ruby. So 1 sapphire and 1 ruby.
So we
saved.
have. I'm seeing 3 sapphire.
Yeah, I think we've got multiple of each. So.
Is anything else worth?
Belgard shield doesn't need any gems. So. Yeah, as long as we don't sell the last ruby and the last sapphire.
On a
What
plus
am I
note,
looking at?
I've just discovered that you guys got 500 XP each. It was written on a note. I wrote it after I went. I was like 500 XP for the invisible guy that you fixed. It was the quest reward, but I'd forgotten at the time. I'd written it down, and now the piece of paper is soaking wet.
I didn't help.
I did want some left over for buying some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind that like there are some cheaper things going on, right? And you don't have to do it now necessarily. So the +1 is still 500 gold pieces, right? Plus a 500 gold piece diamond, should you wish. The same price as Stormforge. And unlike Jodai's weapon, you can keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrading and upgrading, replacing previous stuff. Guns are more modern in this world like that. But you're much more limited on what you can
Well, if
attach.
the party's okay with it, can we sell the one more ruby to fund my
The 5,000 gold piece ruby you're selling?
yeah,
And what are you
to install the 3,000 piece ruby that adds
Okay,
2d6.
so you can add the 2d6 and you're going to convert
No,
it to
we won't convert it. We'll just take the 2d6.
Okay.
for now.
Can you imagine a crit with that, though? With sneak attack,
That'd be-
2d6 radius, turning it into a
absolutely
2d10.
Yeah. Although I don't know that would. Well, I guess the crit would work for the explosion part too.
It does, yeah.
Ooh. No, okay, no. Gotta save some
cool.
money for.
Okay.
Gotta save some money for clothes.
Great, love that. Yeah, so that's the giving him the 3,500 ruby and the 3,000 gold for the installation, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Did I say 3,000? I did say 3,000, right?
Well, it was 3,000 to install the ruby, the 2d6 ruby.
Cool. Yeah, that's what
for
I
it,
thought. So
I'm selling.
It's
For that, I'm
2,500 for the,
selling.
but it's 2,500 for the other one. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. So yeah, he'll give you 2,000 gold back, and you can give him both rubies.
All right.
One to install and one
Perfect.
to sell. Yeah, cool.
And that should leave us with another 2 big rubies.
It does. Yes.
Perfect.
I love the way that we're literally spending gold to go and find more gold. More efficient gold searching. You don't want to stick the talks to you?
I believe this is how all business succeeds.
Pretty much, yeah. Already having money is the best way to make your business succeed.
That's right.
Yeah.
What did you say, James?
You didn't want the talking stick then?
No. We'll save the talking stick for another time.
The stick of usefulness. It'll keep tempting you every time. It's a
I
beautiful
know.
talking umbrella.
Elmore will stare it down every time we pass by.
Yeah. One day I'm going to find a way to insert a wand of magic missiles inside that stick. Just to make it more tempting. But in the meantime...
Cast, obviously.
In the meantime, is that all we need from the hardware
I
store?
think so.
Nobody else needs a gun.
Not today.
Okay. Am I correct in saying they also sell +1 bullets?
They do, but I have the belt now, so.
Yeah, obviously the belt makes them magical. It doesn't make them +1. Yeah.
Oh. Then I will take some +1 bullets.
Yeah. Cool. I thought you might because they're quite cheap. But you will need to keep count of those, unlike regular bullets. Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't care how many regular bullets you use.
I'll buy 40 of them.
Cool. I think that's 720, but I might be wrong.
You're correct.
Cool. Okay. Fantastic. Well, with that done, we're going to Taylor's and the Magic Item Store and the Magic Small Store. Did I give you a quest to help some people with some boxes? That happen?
That does sound
With
vaguely
boxes?
familiar.
Food delivery from the bottom floor. Did you guys do that?
Doesn't
Isn't that
sound
that was
familiar.
Cool. That's great. You didn't meet Wallace. No. Whose delivery was late?
No.
Okay, cool. Right, great. Yeah, so I'm just double checking. So as you guys are proceeding down the stairs, somebody comes up the stairs looking for a guard. But as they get to you, they sort of, you there! Oh, you look well armed. Actually, you don't right now,
Thank
Bellows.
you.
But
Did I have
nevertheless-
to leave? Did I have to leave the boomcaster with the vampire?
Yeah, you did. Okay, none of you look well armed. You there? You don't
Wow.
look well armed.
I've still got 2+1 hand axes and a.
He's a big
pistol
burly
and
dude
a-
too.
You look like a good. You look like a good troop. He says, sorry, he's a small water genasi, and he says, my father is looking to help. His delivery from the Mushroom Grove is late. I don't suppose if you're headed down, you might investigate. Speak to my father for details, and he sort of runs on past you. If you wish to get a quest for something, you can pop into Wallace of Fresh Farmed Goods, the grocer.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Carry on as you wish. I'm just looking at this handout like I don't think I've handed it out. Yeah, cool. Downwards to the tailors, correct? Do you
Sure.
know what you want from the tailors? Or
I
did
want-
you have something very specific in mind?
Well, firstly, I want a completely new garish outfit.
That's great.
There you go.
In the finest of silks.
Yeah, the silk orange shirt, purple trousers, that sort of thing.
Sure, yeah. Like a purple overcoat, maybe with some
Bright
like
red fedora.
no. I want to keep Jacqueline Lavor's hat, but I want to like adorn it with like
Jacqueline Lavash's hat.
you know like a ribbon and maybe some feathers. You know.
Okay, you walk out looking like you would have been stylish 600 years ago. Yeah,
But I also am very interested in this pair of boots of Elven Kind.
the boots of Elvenkind, yeah, 400 gold pieces. And she'll charge you 30, 40. Yeah, 35 gold for upgrading your styles. She'll have that sent to the food factory. 400, so 435. She'll have it all sent. She'll have the clothes sent to the food factory in the morning. But you can walk out with the boots of Elvenkind as they adjust the size of your feet.
Excellent.
Who was she anyway? Nitwit. God,
She was very nice.
I've got so many NPCs. Oh, that's Arius. Yeah, no, he's really very not interesting. He's an overly dapper, snobbish elf. Just leave him behind. Nobody needs to speak to that prick.
Alright. I'm okay with that.
Every dwarf in the city hates him. And yet he is the only producer of the guard cloaks. So, like, a good portion of the dwarves have to speak to the poor prick. Yeah, cool. Is there anywhere else that we have in mind to shop at?
I would like to go to Soundscapes.
Soundscapes. Yes.
Ooh, my kind of place.
Soundscapes. The musical instrument shop. Ah! This is Susan, spelt in the most bizarre manner possible. As you go in, this dwarf has sort of 6 braids that she's braided with various gems and stones. And she's brought all the braids, so they're very long and they come down her front, sort of frolic around. She has sort of 3 or 4 different piercings in her eyebrows, piercings in her nose, piercings in her lip. She looks over at you. How might I be of assistance?
Well, I'm just looking.
Sorry, Miyago, I'm still getting the static off of you and echo. Aye, what are you looking for, lass? Lad, whatever.
Did you just assume my gender? Because that's not panther.
Aye, I did. Is there something you're looking for in particular?
No, thank you. She could probably tell that Felix is trying to be polite as possible, but really trying to say, leave me the fuck alone.
Okay.
Elmer will approach Felix and sort of say, Felix, I had no idea that you were interested in picking up an instrument. It's fantastic.
I'm not particularly. It's just, and then as we're walking and talking at the same time, can we get to a flute section?
There's a few flutes on the wall. A couple of them are also sort of on stands that look a little more pretty and elegant.
I'll pick one up. And I'll just say to Elle, just somewhere deep in my memory just feels, and then I'll start playing a a nice little tune on the flute.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll look to Elle and I'll just say, feels familiar.
You're a very strange boy, Felix. But you impress me.
Hey, you've got a past life that you don't know nothing about. You're not so different.
I suppose that's true, but I don't quite remember it. You see, I was born the day the old Kelly raised me.
At least you know who raised you.
Fair enough. Let me buy that flute for you, Felix.
Oh, that's very sweet. I saw that come in. I'll hand him the flute.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Do you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm just sat here scrolling up and down looking for the playlist that I think I've just deleted. So carry on as you were while I just search here like a...
I believe it's 2 gold.
Oh, is it? Fuck.
It sure is.
Is it? Oh, it is 2 gold. Alright, fair enough.
There you go, mate.
Oh, well, you're not an expensive date, are you?
Who cares? It's the memories that count. They're priceless.
Yeah, sort of, as you're wandering around this store, she looks over at you and, begging your pardon, Skeptonian, might, you look like a bit of a musician yourself.
I'm without my instrument, but I'm glad that you noticed.
Well, I thought I saw you with Colette the other night.
Yes. Good friend.
Jamming, right?
What can I do for you?
Might I... You don't happen to be Elmore, do you?
Elmore is my name.
I've heard that you guys... Well, you go out into the wilderness, digging, delving, as such.
Unfortunately, that is my primary source of income.
It's just... I've heard rumours of the scavenger towns. These
We've
things...
come across a few.
I just wonder if perhaps they have unusual folk instruments, you know? Musical instruments.
Well, as a fellow musician and connoisseur, I could have a look for you, I suppose.
We've had some trade with, you know, Perdition and Krieger and some of the other more interesting cities where they've got their own traditions, and I have instruments of theirs here. She sort of waves towards a Zolkun. Nobody knows what that is. And a Felar and a Glower. Maybe some people do know what they are, but I sure as hell don't. Yeah, and then she sort of... I am intrigued if the scavenger towns have their own... Well, partly their own instruments, but also their own music. I'd be most grateful if you could bring me any tales of such. Or tunes.
I think that could be arranged. We do have business down here in Mechania.
Oh, I'm glad. Thanks. Just on the off chance you see it, or find it.
I'll be seeing you later.
Perhaps you will. That's Susan, spelled very badly. It's an Irish spelling, terrible word. Susan! If you're going to spell it phonetically. But go ahead. Onwards and upwards. Anywhere else we're ducking into? You're now moving down to the magical floor, so magical items, magical spells, musical instruments, of course, which you've just visited, glass blowers, those sorts of things. A little further down is the smelly stuff, the alchemy, the tanneries, that sort of stuff. And then on the lowest level will be your sort of standard stores, general stores, grocers, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. They're probably in the smelly aisle, actually. Candlestick makers. That's kind of a nice smell, I suppose, so I don't know. Is there anywhere else that anybody wishes to go? Do we wish to drop in on the grocer and find out what the hell all this drama's about? Maybe.
Oh, the guy with the mushrooms.
Yeah, you don't have to.
I'm in if the rest of the team's in, but don't do it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm interested. I mean, I haven't. Elmer's done his shopping, I think.
So when you go into the grocer's, there's a water genasi sort of standing there, and his store is almost completely empty. He looks at you and... Ah, not the city guard I was expecting. But Perhaps you might be of use. My damnable shipment is late. Most frustrating. I suppose you might investigate it for me.
Gentlemen?
Well, it might be a faster grocery run than going to Lazarus for grain.
Very much so, yes.
Well,
You're in luck, my friend.
thanks. It's not a long ride down there, but I don't like it in the dark. Stupid, that isn't it? I live in a dwarven citadel, but I don't like the dark. We all end up where we do in these ways of life. You did come here to help, right? You didn't just come in for groceries. As you can see, I'm out of stock.
Yes, looks like even if that's why we'd come here, we'd have to help just to get some.
It is truly tragic, I know. Well, I will pay you well if you can find out. Say, I don't know, 250 gold pieces. If you can get my delivery to me today. 100 if it's tomorrow. Hell, I'm gonna go out of business at this rate. My son will starve to death.
Well, we do have some time to kill while we wait for our commissions to be built, so perhaps we help, yes?
I've got nothing better to do.
Most helpful. I'm just gonna say something really mechanically weird, but I'm not going to punish you guys for not having a weapon on you. If you wish to have a weapon on you that's not upgraded yet, and then upgrade it and whatever, that's fine. But
I'm also happy to take a 250 gold type of job with just my lower weapons too.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna say, if you want to have your weapons on you, you can have your weapons on you.
I've got the flame tongue and I've got the pistol. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, you might be okay. Bellows might need a magical weapon. I'm just saying. A two-hand axes, you might be alright. Yeah.
A two-hand axes.
Cool. So if we take the train all the way down to the Underdog, my camera will restart on Discord. Will restart. Cool. That's great. Am I here? Hello.
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, cool. I'm here. Fantastic, because everything just restarted as I said that. Yeah, as you head on down, you head into to the very lowest level. Not what I was looking for. You head to the very lowest level, and it's dark down here. There's strange glowing mushrooms around, and you see 3 dwarves sat on top of a box, looking morose and really badly wounded.
Greetings, my dwarven friends. You look worse for wear.
Yeah. Why? Not as bad as our 4th companion. A beast came and took his head and ate him. Awful. But, Oh, sorry, Wallace offered you 250 gold. He also offered you a book. The guard are offering 3,000 gold for anybody who can take the beast out.
Can you describe this beast?
Yeah, I think so. Just let me pull up the document. Honestly, this is not an easy thing to describe without explaining it. It carried a club with it. It was a strange, undead-like beast. I don't know, very accustomed to these sort of areas. It was hideously deformed. Vile. Gross. Gruesome, in fact. It had a single eye that followed us. And, that's what got my friend. It seemed to wreck his brain. As he describes this, go ahead and give me a nature or arcana check. I've got to see if you've read of this creature.
Alright. Let's go nature.
Oh.
Alright. I'll take a 25.
Yeah, he seems to be describing a Fomorian.
Ah, excellent.
Interesting.
Not a creature you want to fuck with. Well, maybe you do.
They are malformed giants.
That they are. 3,000 gold for its head, if you can fight it off.
Could you
Maybe we try to find it, yeah?
point us in the direction we found this beast?
Down that tunnel, just follow the blood. And he sort of gestures at his own blood, which is all over the ground. For those of you with dark vision.
I think we all have dark vision, actually.
Yeah, which is all
Yeah.
of you. Yes, that's what I was sort of getting at.
Well, thank you. You look lively, friend. And I'll give him a pat on the back.
Regular, not a magical pat on the back. Just
Yeah.
Just mundane back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
And if you guys wish to pursue it, you can.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Saunter off towards the tunnel for sure.
Yeah, so as you sort of head down the tunnel, a little further, you come to a fork in the road, you see blood down one side, and down the other side, you see these sort of heavy footsteps, clawed beast. It looks to Konovos like these might be the footsteps of a Fomorian, but...
Where is the hunt is afoot?
From this, if you're going to give me a survival check.
Sure. 20.
You have a feeling there might be two. Potentially in two different directions, though? What'd you say?
There may have been two, but it looks as though they have split up, so we can engage one, perhaps, without engaging them both at the same time?
I like your way of thinking, Professor.
Yes. Are we all ready? Is there anything we need to do before we fight a mutated giant?
other than decide whether I'm playing by the rules or the kind rules.
I don't think you survive if you don't take your weapons. That's why
I'll bring it back to him overnight.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of just I'm figuring that you guys just sort of run upstairs. Sorry, we need to borrow those for a second. Run down and then back up the stairs.
BRB.
Okay. So you find yourself. I'm actually just going to use somewhere else for now. You find yourselves just sort of down here, bottom rightish.
No.
Yeah, spot the Arconibus. Down here somewhere. The rest of you? I don't know who I'm missing right now. El and Felix.
There we are.
Cool.
Good spot.
Yeah, and you see this sort of large pile of quartz, and there's a left turn and a right turn, which is the fork you come to. And so the pile of quartz is here, you can't traverse through it.
Alright.
Bear with me a second. Sorry, just hold the phone for one moment. Because I just need to put them on the map. And then... cool. Great, okay. Let me just get the roll 20 on the roll 20, so that other people can see the roll 20. There we go, fantastic. We love that. Yes, you believe one beast went right and one beast went left.
Take your pick, fellows.
Felix, are you with us?
Oh yeah, Felix.
Yeah.
He's down,
Well, I don't know where to put my counter.
Yep.
Down to the right. Down to the right.
Okay, because I just put it on the enemy's face.
Alright, there we go.
Cool.
Yep.
Right or left?
Left.
Felix. Yeah, okay. There we go.
Oh yeah, Felix sees the future. He should decide.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, Felix.
The last time he did this, he saved you from...
I'm just gonna... You don't want to know the future.
he saved you from certain death last time, so... yeah.
Left it is.
Okay. As you guys begin to maneuver on past this quartz crystal, you see various mushrooms over the side. These are just edible mushrooms. They aren't particularly magical in nature. And you begin to hear this sort of noise coming from the end of the corridor. If you move a little closer, as you begin to smell blood. And I believe, Bellows, that should put you in range of being able to see it. Cool. So as Bellows arrives there, you may all move up to where Bellows is standing, and you may roll some initiative. As currently you see one creature, but you do hear one far away. Sick, Arquadibos. Well played.
I don't think I ever rolled good initiative last time either.
So that's a 10, a 10, a 4, and a 6, right? Great, we love that for you. That brings us to Bellows. Great initiative, that.
Well, I was not expecting to go first with a 10.
I didn't think you were either.
All right, I guess I can see this thing. I gotta really see what I'm looking at there though. But move that out of my way.
I don't know where this music is coming from, so I don't know how to turn it off.
30 feet. That's too close.
To be fair, you have been journeying away, but yes.
Yeah, that's fine. But
is that really the first moment you could see it was 30 feet?
maybe another couple of squares back, but not a lot. Nevertheless, I shall kick the old rage boots into action. And run up at this sucker and hit it, I guess. Assuming we know it's already killed people, so... Or harmed... Yeah, it took somebody's head. That's killing.
More often than not.
Cool. You sprint on her. Give it a push.
I will recklessly attack it.
Is the music in the right volume?
Yep.
Cool. Great. It's reset, unfortunately, so I've had to...
It's gonna be a 14.
A 14 will hit.
Okay. Get just one of those. Alright, that is gonna be... 18.
18 damage? Cool. Oh, okay.
With the rage included there. And a second whack.
Nice.
Much higher, so gonna hit. And it's just gonna do these for 10 more.
Nice. Yeah. You're sort of smacking into this sort of huge sort of exoskeleton of this creature. It's sort of...
And I will move away from it. 20 over to here.
Just noticed.
In my...
Sorry.
So...
Let me just fix that. Why is it? It's broken.
It's dividing!
No, it's just broken. And I don't know why.
I whacked another one off of it.
I got it now. Yeah, sorry. Carry on as you want.
No, I just ran back away, and I have mobile now, so since I hit him...
The animation wasn't working for me, which is why I was getting annoyed. Cool. El, you're up.
Okay, so Elmore is going to try to utilize his feats for once. What is this thing in front of me here?
You normally float?
That I can... No.
Okay, I don't understand the reference.
F-E-A-T
Oh, no,
F-E-E-T.
Oh! I just had him use his feet, and I was like...
No.
So you kind of monk?
The feats that I took, that I hardly...
Yeah, so that's actually a dip in the ground of previously quarried stone. It looks like there was once some sort of ore vein here.
Well, so I have Skulker, which means that I can hide if I'm only lightly obscured, whatever that means.
Yeah, so lightly obscured.
Like if I moved over to like
a faint
here.
fog. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely hide there. You could also sort of hide in the quartz up here if you wished. That sort of stuff, right? You may even be able to hide behind our Corvos. That's likely
I
absurd.
am very tall and you are very thin.
That is true. I like that. I like the sound of that. In that case, I will do that. I'll use my bonus action to hide.
Yep.
And attempt to shoot this.
Because Bellows ran away. I see. Yes, go ahead. Attack with advantage.
Yes.
He needed the sneak attack.
Yeah, I won't leave always, but...
No, that was a perfectly good maneuver. And go ahead and make your attack with advantage, Elmore. Oh, holy shit.
Well, that's the fucking nat 20, which I was dreading because now I have to calculate all this fuck.
We do use the special crits, right? So you just get roll damages.
So I'll just do a flat roll instead of a crit damage roll.
Yeah,
and
just a
add
flat roll.
max.
And then we just add whatever the numbers are, which we'll see in a second.
That'll be 3d6 for sneak attack, which would turn into 18.
Yeah, so
And
you roll your
2d6
sneak
fire
attack.
would turn into 12.
He doesn't
no
have the
fire
2d6
yet.
fire yet.
No fire
Oh,
yet.
yeah, you're right.
Ooh, that was a decent one.
So yeah, that's 24 plus 18, which is 42, plus 12, which is 54.
Ooh, and also I have Piercer that I took last session, which means
Is that
that I
an
can.
additional dice?
Yes, it's an additional dice, and I can also re-roll one of the attack's damage dice.
Okay, 62. Go ahead and roll me an additional d8.
D12.
66.
additional
Go ahead and
yeah.
give me the additional 12. 77. Yes. Anything else over there?
I mean, I suppose I could have threw a sharpshooter on there, but I
But you didn't.
I didn't. So
Okay,
that's
the
all for
creature
me.
looks wounded. He's unhappy from that. Well, this. Yeah, maybe I should have started you with both of them. Not the plan, regardless. Oh, Morgan, does that fucking conclude your turn?
Yes, that
Fucking
does.
better. Felix, you're up.
I mean, anything I do now is just
Follow
gonna
that,
pale
bitch.
in comparison. I will bonus action hex this guy. And then I am going to throw out a chromatic orb. That's a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
Nice.
Couldn't possibly be doing thunder damage, could it?
I was thinking about it.
And then you thought, fire?
No. Yes, I did. That's 17 fire damage.
Nice.
Plus another 4 fire damage.
Nice, that's 21 fire damage. He is
Sure.
severely wounded.
I'm just gonna move here.
Okay. Second creature turn.
Yes.
Aquanimous. Yeah.
All right. Well, it kind of seems like I don't need to use anything huge.
Sorry. I just have to mention I only have a 2d6 on my sneak attack.
No.
So let's take away.
It will be 12, but fuck it, no one cares.
Let's take away about 12. I would say, yeah.
I don't care. I really don't care. I'd say it was cool. It was a lot of damage. And when Miyago says numbers, we just go yes.
I was literally like, gee, I hope I don't crit. That's a lot of numbers to crunch.
Oh yeah, and I got his level split wrong. His Bard Rogue level split wrong.
Yeah,
so-
that's why I was like, oh,
Of course,
that was
it's the
my
split,
fault.
yeah.
I would've
Yeah.
had
Aquanimous, yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's throw out maybe just a second level spell slot. Let's do a Tasha's Mind Whip, which has a
Oh, I'd love
range
that.
of 90 feet. And
That's a 1, or
he
not
gets,
natural on the intelligence save.
oh, that's really bad damage. So 10 psychic damage.
Sick.
And then on its next turn, it may choose whether it gets a move, an action, or a bonus action. It gets only one of the 3.
It loves that. It's its turn now.
Yep, I wanted to ruin his day.
Yes, and it will stare at the only... Wait, are you in range? Because it doesn't like you. You are in range.
Sure.
Go ahead and make a charisma saving throw.
I don't think my dark vision is as long as it actually should be, because I can barely see him at 30 feet.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but you do all have 60.
Oh, weird. Okay. Okay, charisma saving throw, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's because the center of him is further away.
Oh, that could be.
A 3 is a fail. You will take 37 psychic damage, Aquanimous.
All right.
And you are cursed with magical deformities as your tentacles begin to sprout more tentacles. And your legs begin to sprout strange mushrooms. Your movement speed is halved, and you have disadvantage on all ability checks and saving throws and attacks based on strength and dexterity. There you go. You can repeat the saving throw when you finish a long rest.
Oh,
Good luck.
Michael.
Or short, to be fair.
Damn.
Cool. That concludes his turn because he doesn't get to do anything else because you ruined his fucking day. 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, it's moving my mouse as well as my... Oh, come the fuck on, really? Down you come, bitch. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Cool. Loves that. And as it arrives with its club, it shall swing first of all at Bellows. Bellows, that is a 14 to hit you. That's good, isn't it? The second swing will be a 13 to hit you.
Nope.
The third swing will be a 18. 20 to hit you.
Certainly.
Which is 19 bludgeoning damage. And it
Up to 9.
and it turns its eye upon Felix. Felix, charisma saving throw, please. Felix?
Yep, that's a 19.
A 19 is a success. You will take 19 psychic damage, and you will not be cursed with the strange tentacle growth.
Thank God.
Bellows, you're up. For reference, you are
Alright.
actually in melee range there of that guy. I know
Okay.
that seems weird because it doesn't look like it, but you are.
Right, with that corner bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm going to wait a second. Let me read this stupid.
For 1 second, I thought that line coming from L was your planned direction. I was just like, what? He's
That was
going
me. That
way.
was me. Sorry.
Yeah, I realized that. I just left the concept.
No, but I might run in a crazy direction, but I'm going to hit it once first before I do.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to bash the one near you.
Yep. The new one. Yeah. It did go reckless there. That's going to be 15.
15 will hit, as you know.
Okay, I am not applying my additional damage because I haven't moved, obviously, but I'm choosing not to anyway. That's going to be 7 plus 6, 13 bludgeoning damage.
With the rage?
Yeah.
Cool. So you said 7 plus 6. Apologies.
Yeah, 6. Yes, that's the rage. It's my plus 4 mod. And
Right,
plus
okay,
2
sorry,
rage.
yeah, cool, that makes so much more sense. I was like, huh?
Yeah. No, I
cool.
can never keep track, but it's one of the few things I actually write down.
That's all good.
And then I'm going to run. Let's see. I can't do it because it's all dark over there, but I know there's space over there from having been there.
Why is it dark? That's so weird. You have 60 foot of dark vision and it's being applied to you.
25, 30,
Oh.
35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 would put me over here.
It's 60 feet to the wounded enemy or
Right.
30 to the unwounded one. Well, the
Yes.
lesser wounded one.
Well, I'm going to take a few steps out of order and get over here, having gone 100 feet,
Beautiful.
because I take the dash bonus with my rage, which means, well, let's hope I hit him.
As you charge around Felix, your
Obviously.
weapon begins to gather momentum and crackle with lightning and thunder. God
Yeah.
knows why. It's not going to do any of that side of damage, but it's crackling. It's ready.
Yeah, it makes a silly Jack in the Box sound as I go.
It's ready. It's reckless. It's charging. It's powerful. It's a nat one.
No, it's 19.
19 will hit.
Plus, that's 19 on the die.
Ooh, you're not at the crit 19 level yet, are you? You need
No,
that
unless I
stupid
would have thrown
debuff
one of those
from
hand
Josh.
axes.
You need a stupid debuff from Josh.
However, I do get 5 extra d8s.
Oh.
Sick. That's what we like to see.
This is why I should be doing this on the computer, but we'll see here. Alright, so it's my
No,
normal 6.
the very fact that you get to roll 5 extra d8s is why you should be rolling with real dice.
Yeah, I know.
Because that's when it's fun.
so-
Yeah, I got to do 22 d8 the other day. In a level 20 test fight. It was great.
19.
Any World of
29.
Darkness game is just fistfuls of die 10s.
29 overall.
Yeah, not the highest die rolls there, but that's okay.
Okay.
29 bludgeoning
Cool.
damage.
Yeah, he appears a little annoyed.
And now I stay near him because I have no more movement left.
Cool. Al, I hesitate to give you another turn, but go on.
Well, I need to reload.
Great. That actually, to be
Yeah.
fair, that makes me feel a lot better about the balancing of your character. When
Right.
You've done 77 damage, but you then have to reload your gun. I mean,
Exactly.
technically you have a pistol, but yeah.
I mean, I do have a pistol, but the Boomcaster is my baby. But what I will do with a bonus action is give some bardic inspiration to our Corvos to help him break out of this fucked up curse that he's under.
Yeah, hopefully it'll last till he gets a short or long rest, which is when he can use it. once again out
I
of it.
thought you said that he can
Make a
repeat
saving
the
throw.
after a short, long rest.
Yeah, or after a short or long rest. But he can use it on something else, or you can give it to someone else.
He's a little hindered right now.
Also, if he takes another one, then yeah, he can save from that. So
Yeah.
not a bad
And
idea.
then I am going to move here,
Yeah.
which is my movement,
Okay. Cool. Felix.
and that's it for me.
Okay. I am gonna. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to step on all this flesh and bones and stuff. But
That's quartz. It's difficult terrain.
Oh,
So it's like
I
a
thought it was-
field of quartz crystals. No, I did say that, Anya.
Oh. Well, that makes this a lot more pleasant then.
It does make it slower, though. Yeah.
That's fine. I'm not going far. I just want to run away.
Cool. The creature will take an attack of opportunity as you leave its attack range.
There.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got reach, I think.
He got reach, baby.
Yeah, soak the attack of opportunity so I
That's
can
a
run away.
18 to hit you. Go ahead and take 20 bludgeoning
I'll
damage.
shield it.
Okay,
I'll shield
cool.
it.
Go ahead and shield it. Beautiful. As its blow comes down, it sort of rebounds off the blue shield, or red shield, I imagine, around you, right? Cool. Carry
Actually,
on.
I just imagine it just bouncing off of his. I just imagine his like skin like flares with scales, and then it bounces off.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love that. It sort of reaches like a millimeter away, and then off it goes again. Cool. Carry on. Difficult terrain there, yeah. So that's as far as you can get.
Yeah, I'm aware. And I will fire off another chromatic orb at this guy.
Yep. Does your chromatic orb actually do more damage than Eldritch Blast?
Yes. It's a 3d8.
As opposed
And that's,
to a 2d10 plus 10. Plus
What
2
did
procs
you-
of hex. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's worse, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Did
Carry
you
on.
take agonizing blast or?
Go on. Go ahead. Yeah, he does.
That's a 22 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
That is 10 fire damage plus another 3.
That is exactly what you need. The creature is dead.
Who needs Eldritch Blast
You.
when you've got Chromatic Orb?
Chromatic Orb's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. Your bonus action?
Yes, I will bonus action move my hex onto this guy.
Cool. Okay. Your hex will take the form of making him go AFK, I think, is what we'll do.
Thank God.
Do I have that? I thought I had an AFK. There we go. I've got a new AFK marker, so I thought I thought I would use it. Cool. Does that conclude your turn? I've got to go sit up.
Alright. I'm going to just really hope that he doesn't get multiple attacks of opportunity, which he might, and I'm going to try to run away a little bit. So if I'm 10, 15, 20, 30.
He
Alright.
shouts after you in giant. Yeah, run away.
I will respond in giant. This does not end well for you, friend. Because that's one of the languages I speak. And I'm going to cast haste on Bellows.
That's why I told you what it said. Lovely. Don't forget that haste in our world means an extra 2 attacks, not 1. Yeah, if you've got the extra attack action.
Bellows has an extra 2 AC, can move even more because it doubles your speed.
Goddamn!
So if you want to charge up even more for that momentum shot, and then you know what? I'm gonna check if my telekinetic shove. One creature I can aim at 30 feet. I'm gonna make this guy make a strength saving throw as I try to shove him 5 feet away from me.
Little did you know you're playing Roadrunner. 24.
Yep, figured he'd probably have a good
Yes.
strength save, but
He's
I have nothing
quite
better
big.
to do with my bonus action, so
Great.
that's my turn.
Okay. He will. I suppose he's just going to bash Bellows in the face. Oh no.
That's what my face is
16.
for.
16?
Yeah, that does. That's exactly.
With the +2 from haste.
Oh no! Right,
yeah,
right,
no,
right.
I
No,
thought
it's
so.
missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Natural
hey, hey.
20.
Well, that'll do it.
Oh,
Oh, that
shit.
probably hits him.
Right,
Can I silvery barbs that?
If you must. Just
I
to
think I
ruin my
will.
fun. Who's
I
getting
think I'm gonna have
advantage?
to, unfortunately.
Who's getting advantage?
Belbelos, of course.
Okay, 27. Why not? You don't even have to reckless anymore. That is a 27 to hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably still going.
But it's not a crit. Which is 21 half to 10.
Yep.
I've lost track. How many times have I swung at you? Twice, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I should be rolling with advantage, shouldn't I?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
1.
That's fine. Another 27 to hit you.
Yep.
23 bludgeoning damage, half to 11.
Oof.
And then he will give the eye, which he can't do to you. Elmore, you didn't hide at the end of last turn, did you? No, you did not. Go ahead and make a charisma saving throw.
I will.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Why can't he do it to me? Because he attacked me.
Because you're in melee range.
But 20.
A 20, yes, you'll take 11 psychic damage and sprout no tentacles.
Nice.
Cool. That concludes his turn. Bellows, you're up.
Okay. So my speed is doubled.
Yep.
Doubled.
So if you take the dash action, I think it's 250? 60?
No. It's 220 total.
Ah, it's so much more normal.
Yeah.
Well, it's only 190 to go the entire way around the quartz farm.
Well, can I like sidestep a couple of times?
Yeah, of course you can. You do a slightly
Zigzag.
wider berth to make it straighter lines, right? So you've got the most momentum.
Yeah. So I end up over here.
Yeah.
Come around him a little bit so that it makes sense that it was 220.
Yeah. And
I don't
with
have
advantage,
to
without
adjust.
even swinging reckless.
Yeah, well, in the first one anyway, I guess if I don't hit, I'll reckless for the second one.
Can we just confirm, is that an 11d8 you're adding? 220? Is it per 20
yeah,
feet?
I'm gonna have to roll that one online whether it's fun or not. So let's see if I hit. It's 19 total.
19 will hit.
Gonna hit. Okay, so
You roll with
let's see
advantage,
here.
right? With your... Of course you did. You always
Yes,
do.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I mean, I could wait. I could try to try to crit on the second hit and apply the damage then. But
No, I
I'll
think in this
I'll just do
situation,
it
I'm going to
now.
make you use it on the first attack.
Yes. Let's see here.
I suppose there's no reason why the momentum hasn't charged.
All right. First of all, let's roll the regular weapon damage. It's gonna be 8 plus 6 is 14 plus whatever. Oh, no! I can't delete a single die. Now I have to start this over again.
Right click.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Too late.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to when you have a 2d6 of fire and a 2d8 of necrotic and a...
I think it
Oh my
broke
God,
my...
yeah.
Oh, there it is. 39 plus 14, so 53.
It's wounded. It didn't like
That's
that.
good. But I want to hit it again, so I will
please
use
do.
reckless to make sure I hit it the second time.
Yeah. I think this is a CR8
yes.
creature. There's two of them. Just sunder them to pieces. No, I love fights
okay,
like this where
that's-
you guys can just use everything.
Right.
Yeah.
24 to hit, and that
Yeah.
one's just going to be an additional 14.
Frankly, that's pitiful, Joe. Honestly.
I know. You better modify it so I can use it twice a turn.
You don't crit 70 something?
How about no? El, you've reloaded, and it's your turn.
Was that all your hasted attacks as well?
Oh yeah, Joe, you had another two attacks.
Sorry, thank you, Mr.
Yeah, the two attacks.
Wizard,
They
for
love
helping
that
me.
wizard.
Second of like, I thought there was only 2. I thought there was.
That's another hit. 25 to hit
Yeah,
is going to be 13 more.
yeah.
And the last one,
He is
'cause
severely
you
wounded.
added extra, that's 24 to hit, and that's going to be lower, 3 plus 6, 9 more.
Okay. Elmore, he looks on the
Now I'm
brink of
done.
death. Shoot him.
Yeah, Elmore is literally just like looking at him like, oh god, what is this man doing to this thing?
Now you're just putting it down.
I love the idea that with all this running, he's leapt quite high, so he sort of just 4 hits as he comes down, just like literally blacksmithing this monster. What are you doing, El?
I am going to hit this guy, obviously.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to stand perfectly still so as to activate my steadying. Get a little advantage on the roll. Ooh,
23 will hit. It's not a crit, though.
not a crit.
You're a
unfortunately.
disappointment.
17. 22, sorry, altogether.
22, that is enough! As your bullet ricochets out the boomcaster, sort of straight through the underside of his throat. His head sort of falls back, and he sort of lays down next to Bellows, who is in a perfect position to cut his head off for 3,000 gold pieces. And in fact, you can cut both their heads off. The guard will be most grateful. And they will give you 3,000 gold for each head!
Oof.
But as you make your way back up to Wool Arse,
I'm gonna go over and as mutated as I am, but still like one moment, and just kind of burrow in through his ear to just get like a muskmelon-sized ball of brain to nosh on while we make our way back up.
it's not very tasty. This creature is rather vile.
Oh, but he had weird eye powers, so
True. But a psychic spice going on.
You are what you eat.
As you return to Wallace, he will give you his cookbook. Why did it? He will give you his cookbook, which I will supply at the beginning of next session, which is where we'll pick up. Because that is where we're going to end.
All right.
So we come to the timeless tradition of MVPs.
Did we get XP?
Oh yes, sorry, you did. I did even work this out. It's 2,000 on the dot. Each.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry, no, it's not. It's 2,250. So you got an extra 250 because you got 250 for completing the quest and 2,000 for killing the monsters.
Perfect.
22.
All right.
Yeah, 2,250 each. And MVPs. I come first to Joe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give it to a random giant Fomorian fight tacked on at the end to a day in town. Totally worth it.
Spice up the shopping.
Exactly the phrase I was headed for. So
Yeah, I totally forgotten about that. And obviously, the first time you came to Mechania, a Fomorian fight would have been pretty fucking frightening, right? Two Fomorians would have been pretty deadly. But this time round, it's just free cash. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, our Corvos has grown some strange tentacles.
well, I think the best part is now the shopping strip has to continue because now we have more money.
Yeah, no, always. And there are other ways of getting money, right? The Dwarven Bolt Thrower will give you some money the following day.
True.
Josh, your MVP.
A little one is having the monsters have an effect that you can't get rid of until you finish a rest. What is that about?
It's cool.
But I really like the little moment that Felix and Elle had in the music store. That was a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go to the music store to kind of have this kind of thing with Felix where he does, obviously he doesn't remember his past life, but he has like the faintest of littlest of memories of his melody. I didn't know or think or anything that anyone would latch onto it, and then it was just very nice.
Yeah. Music shop's the right place to have a conversation with Elle.
Exactly.
Iago.
After that kind of, really nice moment, I'm just going to go with the Bellows running 220 feet to then charge up the spanner and then make 4 attacks. So once I finally got haste, I'm like, this is going to be so much fun with Bellows and that spanner and everything. So it was fun.
Do you know what? One of the things I love about this campaign is that I can sort of throw balance out the window. Because I'm just like, I'm throwing, like, the dungeons are designed for various levels, right? So realistically, you might turn up and fight a bunch of monsters designed for a level 3 party, or a bunch of monsters designed for a level 15 party. So your balance levels don't really matter. As long as you all feel equally powerful, roughly, which if you all spend roughly the same amount of money should happen, right? I just love that we can allow, go ahead, run 240 feet, and still do less damage than the skeleton that crit for 77. Yeah, crazy. But I just think that it's all about having some fun, really. And haste is definitely the plan. We need to get you the boots of striding and springing, I think it is, or are they boots of speed or something? Something where you
striding and springing
just
just lets you jump more. It does give you speed, but it sets your speed to lower than my speed. So
yeah.
Right, yeah, no, it's the boots of speed, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, click your heels and double your speed or something. I don't know. By the end of this campaign, we're going to have Bellows going, I'm going to leave the dungeon, do a lap with the ship, and come back. And then I'm going to hit
Just gonna go get a sandwich.
Gonna break the sound barrier real quick.
Yeah. You should have been in Tabaxi. Who knew? Rico.
Considering that everyone basically took all of the moments that were at the top of my list, I'm gonna throw in a silly one that I thought was kind of funny when you were explaining how this invisible Geldy was like sort of stripping off all of his magic items. Just like I looked up at the cameras and like everyone was just like salivating, like oh, we're gonna fucking steal all these.
Like,
fucking...
maybe.
Yeah.
They're such shitty items as well, but they're cool, so why not?
Exactly.
By the end of this campaign,
so
you guys are going to have the most ridiculous horde of items ever.
Oh yeah. I'm hoping.
So I've got a couple of MEPs. The first is that I can sort of just go to you guys, hey, you're in a city, what are you doing? And 3 hours later, we've had some fun. So I love that. I do think that, weirdly enough, we may have to eventually, make a rule that the next time we come home, we don't come back to Mechania. Because otherwise we'll be level 18.
We gotta see one of these other cities.
Fresh. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my poor world. 77 damage crit. El, you might have noticed I've dealt you a card. This is don't use it because then I have to deal you another card. So basically, I've got these critical hit cards now, which are just. And I've got some critical fail cards as well. They're like inspiration, so I've given one to El. The next time you crit, you can deal this card, and there is a melee, natural attack, ranged version, and magical version of what happens. You know, maybe you like explode their limb off or some cool stuff. They're completely broken as hell, but hey, how often do you crit? And how often do I give them out? I'll probably give out like one a session. And the critical fails more than make up for it. They're like, your movement speed is half till the next week. You know, or something stupid like that. They're not.
I also misfire on Natural too.
Yeah,
so.
They're not that bad, but they are kind of fun and silly. I look forward to our next session, which is next week. We will have a session next week, but we'll be off on the 30th. But that is where we'll end. So if you guys would like to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Gross.
We shall see you soon.